But
Good to know.
that whole thing about how like one of the ships is like one of the ships Che Guevara used in the revolution. Like there's a lot of like communist propaganda littered throughout One Piece's writing,
Hmm.
Damn crazy.
and the writer has like a Che Guevara thing in like a studio.
I
What I'm
believe it.
saying is, what's the guy's name who wrote One Piece again?
Aichiro Oda.
Oda's
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Oda's a commie, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, if you say so, buddy.
Nothing's wrong with
I,
that. I'm just
I,
saying.
I haven't read a lot of One Piece to be able to make that determination, but I
Nah, I
believe
did
it.
read into like all
So,
the political like propaganda that's in One Piece. I was like, holy shit, I didn't even know this was in here.
I only watched up to like 3 episodes from the end of Usopp's introduction arc. And it's just like, it's not interesting to me.
Yeah, I watched it in 2 times speed and was getting bored. I was like, yeah, I give up.
Yeah.
that's kind of like I knew I was never gonna want to watch it at this point because there's just too fucking much. But I read a bit of it for my brother, and I feel like if I am ever gonna get into One Piece again, it's gonna be from reading it. It's like much
Yeah.
faster for me to skip through any
That's
parts I'm
fair.
fucking
I was
bored
gonna
with.
either read it or check out the One Piece Project. Have you seen that?
That's what.
So that's the version I was watching.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking about. I was watching the original version on 2 times speed, and I'm like, nothing happened this episode. Nothing happened this episode. Why are we still here?
Yeah, so one of my coworkers, he works on quality control for One Piece, so he gets all of the episodes early. So that's how he was showing it to me and another one of my coworkers, and like it's fine, and I can see the appeal, but it's very like I I know that this sounds redundant, but it's very cartoonish.
Yeah.
Like uh rubber hose, Looney Tunes, like slapstick comedy era, and that's just like not my preferred genre of media in general.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It is a little bit of that old timey slapstick, like
Okay, so here's what I got from the One Piece live action, having only really consumed a bit of the manga before. Okay, one thing I'm confused about with the One Piece live action. Okay, I thought the whole point of it being called the One Piece was that fucking dude, Gold Roger, before he's executed, he like people are asking him, where he left his treasure. He says, if you want to find it, I left everything all in one piece or one place or whatever, and that's why they call it the One Piece, and then started some fucking revolution where people want to go become pirates just to find it, because if you find it, you're fucking made for life or whatever.
yeah.
And then the live action, he's just like, oh, my treasure? Yeah, good luck finding it, everybody. And somehow that starts a revolution, and like then he's
Well,
executed. And I'm like, I thought the whole point of it being called One Piece was that he says something about like it all being in one area or like together or something like that, and he didn't say that
because
at all. So
because it's revealed later in the manga recently that it's more than one piece.
right, but
So
why did they call it the One Piece originally though? Is what I'm confused about. My assumption was that originally people thought it was in one piece, so that's why they called it the One Piece.
Called subversion of expectations.
So like I can understand if later on it's revealed that it's not in One Piece. My confusion
Yeah.
is why is it called the One Piece if that's not what they say. And then I tried looking into it, and people were saying there were different translations of his speech, and in like a couple of them, like the Japanese ones or whatever, he says like I left it all in that place or whatever or something like that, and then people eventually interpret it to One Piece or whatever. Most of the people I saw answering this question were just like, oh, it's just the title of it, bro, or like is the title of the series, or eventually they call it that. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel, and it was like the 4 Kids dub, I think, that I found out was like the ones that translated his line to say I left it all in one piece, and I'm like, oh, that actually seems like it's pretty fitting for like
damn,
that.
the one time
Yeah.
that 4 Kids really pulled through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, for what I hear, the four Kids One Piece was like the worst of the worst too. So like, I don't know.
Someone with like the water guns, right?
Yeah, yeah, or like
Yeah.
Sanji cigarettes are like lollipops now and shit like that.
Oh
Yeah,
damn.
and they're shooting each other with water guns, and because they're pirates.
Base,
4 Kids is so funny, honestly.
base,
I respect
base.
them. I respect them for their work, but That's funny.
Yeah, so that happened. That I was confused about a bit. I was like, oh, I was waiting for the line. I was like, oh, he's gonna do it. He's gonna say it. And he didn't say it. And I was like, wait, why are they all freaking out? I didn't really feel like it was that empowering of a speech. And he like gave like the dude who was executing him like a smile, like, yeah, this is all just to make everybody crazy. Now you're gonna have to deal with this for years and years or whatever. But like he didn't really say the thing, I don't think, but I don't know. But that was one thing. It's like a minor little thing, I guess, because you could just say over time people just called it the One Piece or whatever for whatever story reasons. It just got passed around or whatever.
Yeah.
They Luffy meets up with the fucking glasses kid at the very beginning for like the brief time that they're together. They go to this like marine place. He meets up with Nami and Zoro there, as he's trying to get a map to the Grand Line, because he didn't actually have a plan at all when he decided to set sail to find the One Piece. So he tries to steal the map, and that's how he meets up with Nami and Zoro for various reasons. And they get it, and they sail out, and they're all together. And then Buggy immediately. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure from what I read in the manga so far, Buggy wasn't even a thing that appeared anywhere yet. But in this adaptation, he shows up like second episode.
That's bizarre because Nami shows up after Buggy, or in the Buggy arc.
Wait, what? Wait. Maybe I'm remembering when I read the manga wrong or something like that. Because I do remember Nami was definitely there, and I remember when I read the manga, they even went to the island where Nami came from with like the shark dudes or whatever. But I don't remember Buggy. Maybe Buggy wasn't there, and I just didn't remember him from the manga so far.
Because the whole Nami's introduction arc was the same arc that they fought Buggy, because she was trying to steal the map from them, and that's when they meet her.
I see. Well, it's been a while since I read the chapters of One Piece that I did read, so and I might have just got that mixed up in my head. But yeah, so Buggy shows up like second episode, kidnaps that whole crew, and from what I saw of the episode, he's got like this whole setup inside of his ship of like a whole circus deal with like the audience members just being like chained up like people that he's got that like are forced to cheer and applaud when like signaled to, otherwise they're like going to die probably. They're like doing it with tears in their eyes and stuff like that because they don't want Buggy to murder them all. And I'm like, all right, so this dude's fucking, you know, I like that kind of setup, but if you're telling me that's not even like a part of the manga, I'm like, oh damn.
No, I don't remember that in the anime at the very least. His whole thing was his big cannon. He had a really big cannon, and he was like, I'm gonna destroy the town with this cannon.
Right. Oh my god, Shadow's here, and we got a raid from Shadow. Oh my god, raid Shadow Legends. Holy shit.
I just can't get over that it's not One Piece.
I was told.
I was told. Lie.
I was told
tell me the cake's not real.
I was told through the memes the One Piece is real over a very funny edit, okay? That's what I was told. So.
Oh, yeah.
But apparently, it's real, but not in One Piece. I don't know what to do with my life anymore.
I saw him AMV over Soldier Boy, and it told me that it was in One Piece. So,
I mean, how else do you want to find out? Okay?
Yeah, are you gonna fight that? Are you gonna tell me that's wrong? Are you gonna look at me and tell me that I'm wrong?
Yeah. Are you gonna tell me
That's entry level. Okay, now we have to do a Soulja Boy AMV edit that's just titled "Your parents are finding out your parents are getting divorced" or some shit like that.
God.
All right. Okay, we're here. I don't think anybody else is going to show. We had that other person in the chat mention something about reading it or whatever, but they didn't actually tell me they were going to show up for it. So I'm just going to go off the assumption that they're not showing up for it. At least not in the voice chat, maybe. Maybe they might be listening. I'm going to hit the ping button to let people know. Was Morgan? I didn't hear Morgan say it at all.
The other night she told me she said she had to catch up for a book club.
Well, I have not been told that Morgan was showing up for anything.
I mean, it's in the event thing. It said she was interested. Right there.
It's interested.
The event info.
What? What's going on? Oh, they marked as interested?
Yes.
Well, if they're showing up, they gotta show up. I don't see them online, so.
Ping him? DM him? I don't know.
Okay.
Right, let's all DM Morgan all at once. It'll be funny, I swear.
Oh, no.
Okay, so I got it from my local video store.
Of course.
That chat provided.
Yes,
and
of course.
I did not read chapter 20.5.
Oh, you mean
because it was a lot of text and I didn't want to read it.
Wait, there's a 20 point. Wait, hold on.
I didn't know
I've
it was
been.
a 20.5.
Hold on. Slow down. Talking about like the afterward stuff at the back of the volume or whatever, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you did not. That was not required. You did not have to read all of fucking the bonus meme material.
Okay, I didn't. Well, so I do mention it briefly in my notes, but like there's a fact, like a little like lore thing that I mentioned that like I don't know if it was brought up in those notes or not.
Okay.
Was all I was gonna say.
Yeah, there's a couple things. Those volumes, they had those extra like afterward and like memo stuff, like bonus lore material in the back. But there was another chapter after those in each of those volumes, and that was supposed to be the last chapter we were supposed to have read. If you didn't, that's fine. But that like chapter afterwards is basically where like it's supposed to be like a preview towards like the next volume, and it's supposed to be at the end of that volume, I guess. I don't know why they put it after this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read on the first address that you gave me. I read
the first video store. Yes, of course.
Yeah, the first video store. I read up until I saw the cover for volume 3, and then I stopped.
Yeah, that's probably a safe place then. Let me just double check it and make sure, but I'm pretty sure if you saw the volume 3 cover, you're probably good.
Yeah,
also, welcome.
Hi.
Who joined?
Hello.
Hello. Introduce yourself.
I'm Trando. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify like what to call you or whatever, so. Okay.
Wrong introduction, I believe.
We know you, okay? We haven't even officially started. I'm trying to make sure everything's
Shadow.
all set and ready, okay?
Who's Shadow?
You do now, all right? You do now. Hold on. Let me fucking...
This is version 4. I only use version 3.
I hate all of you. I hate all of you. I'm canceling book club.
I did read a little into volume 3, not much, just a little, like a bit of that first chapter to make sure that I was caught up. And it is obvious that it's like moving on to the next arc, so I don't think that I missed anything.
Yeah, no, you're good. As long as you saw the volume 3 thing, then you're good.
Cool.
Let me check the 20 point. I'm pretty sure the 20.5 is supposed to just be the extra lore stuff if you read it. I did the second one where you can download it, legally from your local video store, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Look, man, some of these books were expensive as shit. Hey, one was like $35.
Yeah, because those are omnibus versions. So if you buy one, it's usually going to have like 2 or 3 volumes in one, actually.
Okay.
So I probably wouldn't recommend getting that, actually, just because of like... it's going to be confusing with like and it doesn't clarify unless you're reading it from that first link. The actual downloads on the actual volumes, they don't clarify like when the next chapter is or when it started usually.
Find out today on Dragon Ball Z.
It's just kind of one continuous thing, I guess. Okay, it looks like the 20.5 does not put the bonus chapter afterwards. So on that site, the chapter must have been, the chapter 20, and then 20.5 is after. Even though in the download, or the actual volume, it's supposed to be, like, after it for some reason. I don't know why. Anyways,
That's
all right.
fair.
All right, we have that clarified. Let's begin. We have people here. We're not waiting on anybody else. As far as I'm aware, Morgan never specifically told me that they were showing up, so if they show up later, message her. If they show up later, they can join right in. But right now, we should just get started because we're 5 minutes late. Oh, no. All right. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Anime Book Club, better name Pending, okay? And the newest manga we've decided on was Summertime Rendering through the vote. It was close with Witch Hat Atelier. There was a little bit of voting fuck-ups in several areas. One was me forgetting to put I Am a Hero with the rest of them at first, and the other was Ace just
Rigged.
voting for the wrong things and not realizing but like he didn't want to correct it at all, I guess, for some reason. So
Good Jet.
pretty based. So Summertime Rendering won in the end with, I think, Witch Hat Atelier as a close second, so we'll see if maybe that comes up again in the future. But we got here Summertime Rendering. Now, has anybody here, this has an anime adaptation. Has anybody here actually seen it before? I know I saw a couple episodes of it previously. I don't remember if Shadow was with me when I did. Did anybody else check it out? Or
No.
I have not seen it.
See, you did back in 1997.
So I when this came out, and I think it came out like 2 years ago at this point. It's been a while. Let me just. It came out 2022. It was like spring 2022. It started, so it's like a year and a half ago at this point. I saw only the first 4 episodes, and I know it was only the first 4 because I was trying to do episode reviews of it for Jotaku, and I made it up to like 4 episodes. And then I just got too busy to actually continue the reviews, so I stopped watching it for a while or whatever. But episode 4 ends exactly where these 2 volumes end.
Oh, convenient.
So, pretty convenient.
Yeah, that works
So
well.
after this, I will have no idea what's going to happen.
Yo!
So Summertime Rendering, let's just go over a couple things. Well, first, let's introduce the people that we have for this session. So we have myself, of course, the host here, Wolfborg. You don't need to know too much about me. You're already here if you're watching this on YouTube or Twitch, okay? But
They don't know. You gotta give them the lore.
what more do you need to know? Go fucking click on my subscription button. Go watch my other videos, okay? They're
Go become
all
a
bangers. Become a member whenever I figure out how to turn on the YouTube membership button without it being a fucking Patreon. I don't know why they want me to make it like a fucking Patreon, okay? You're not getting too much extra bonus memes. You can give me money if you
I
want
want
or
bonuses.
don't. All
You
right?
ain't getting shit.
Bro, you get my content. That should be enough. That should be more than enough, okay? Haven't
I've
you
been a
seen my
loyal
bangers?
subscriber accidentally for years now.
You keep telling me every time you remember. You keep being like, "This is the time I'm gonna cancel it. This is the time." This
But
is
then I keep forgetting my fucking password.
Good. Forget it forever. All right. I need your money. All right, motherfucker. All right. So that's me. Amazing. Great. Next we got Justin. Justin.
Yeah.
Why are your goons not as hard as mine?
Okay, that's all you.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking. And with the subscription, speaking of 1 month of subbing, didn't you? Oh, it's the new month is about to start. I thought you like just subscribed the other day.
I don't fucking
I don't know. I just have pop-ups that's like, hey, send a notif in your chat, and I'm like, hell yeah, I'll send a notif in your chat.
All right, there you go. Well, I guess
Yeah,
like,
it's
because the new month has just started or whatever. So
It's
Gotcha.
September.
Yeah, it will auto sub if you have auto sub, and then it'll just let you notify whenever you're in chat and hit the button.
good. Don't
So-
cancel.
I-
Recurring sub
I
button.
don't,
Make
I don't
sure.
know if I have auto sub on. I have like negative money in my bank account right now. Probably.
You
probably
made
won't
it,
be that, so
Oh no.
I'll
Well,
live.
if you're
That's
already in the
what I call
negatives, you might as
overdraft
well. Yeah, if you're already in the negatives, you might as well go even more in the negatives and send me the money. Okay. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. We have banger content on here. Okay, the best.
I'm
Content,
a
the best of the best.
39-month sub.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow. Over 3 years, right? So wow.
It ends this month.
No,
It's
no,
more
it
time
doesn't.
I've known
No, it
you,
doesn't.
Wolf.
Yes,
This is
it
amazing content here. You wouldn't want to do it. All right, enough about me. I want to talk about me. I want to talk about Summertime Rendering. Okay, so Justin, anything else you
Yes.
want to shout out about yourself? Anything you actually feel like doing with your channel and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, go follow Justin on YouTube. It's not follow, it's subscribe, right?
Yeah, it's subscribe. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good at this.
Are you gonna
Anyway,
actually be
next.
doing content anytime soon on there, or?
Probably fucking not.
But subscribe to it anyways. Okay.
Yeah, subscribe to it
You-
anyway. But
you
probably
never
Why
know.
it never happened.
You might get a surprise ping saying, "Hey,
The
he's got
new
a video."
just dropped.
in 2 to 3 years, there may be some me shitting on Death Note. Who knows?
You're gonna see another.
Still faster than Gemini Laser's upload schedule.
You're gonna see a review from him on that channel talking about how much he hates Togata from Fire Punch. Okay, he's got a lot of opinions, at least at the beginning. So it's
At
okay.
least at the beginning.
All right, so moving on now. Nyan Bacon, introduce yourself for the stream.
Hi. I'm Anne or Andy. All of my social media accounts are Nyan Bacon. I actually just posted a new animation video today to my YouTube, so you should check it out. And I do art. So maybe there will be some summertime rendering fan art coming to my Instagram, NyanBacon_official.
Oh, damn, that would be awesome. I did see that notification about the new video, but I was setting up things, so I haven't had a chance to check it out yet. So, but yeah, shout out to all that. Go check those out. Big W's. All right, Shadow, what do you got for us?
All right, so I got Twitch. Here's the link. I sent in the chat. We just finished Mega Man the arcade game just before we started the stream, actually.
Wow.
That's why I was here kind of late. Well, I mean, like, just on time.
Okay, why did it show up? I have
And
a
then
chat.
actually, right after we're done this, we're going on. We're doing Balneric 2 with Ron. You know,
Oh, okay.
we're in for that.
Okay, hold on. I tried showing chat on stream. For some reason, it was showing 2 chats, and they were very tiny. So I'm just gonna mute those for now. I don't know why. All right, whatever. Also, Justin subscribed for. It says 25-month streak. Subscribed for 39 months. It just says why. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Oh, wait. Okay.
Now there's a hype
it.
train going. Oh shit. You got
I
what?
have been subscribed to you for a total of 2 months, but I'm only on a 1-month streak because I subbed last month. I got it now. I figured it out.
You did the math.
I did the math.
Okay, I don't know what you just said because Justin just tried playing FBI Open Up, so now I had to mute sound alerts. So thank you for that, Justin.
I had to make sure you had them muted, you know?
Yeah, don't worry, they're muted now, okay?
Yeah, stress testing the system.
Yeah,
of course.
is it working real
Sorry,
first?
Ann.
Don't worry, those sounds are not going to be playing, but thank you for the bits or the channel points, okay? Take that. All right, so go check out Shadow's Mega Man gameplay if you're ever interested in those. Check out those streams and all those memes. And then we have Turandot. Is that how you pronounce it? Introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Trendo, and I pretty much just read. That's about it.
That's all you really need to know to be here, so there you go. All right, so let's get started with summertime rendering. So like I said before, this did have an anime adaptation before. Only seen a couple episodes of it. I'm not going to talk too much about that, but I do want to mention that was for some reason one of the first anime that Disney Plus picked up when it decided to start licensing anime. This was like their first exclusive.
Along with Corey House, right?
Yeah, of course. I don't know why they decided to choose the fucking murder fucking the
murder
kid
mystery.
children murder mystery on a fucking deserted island on Disney Plus. Hey, whatever. But it also did that weird
They
thing.
have a Black Rock Shooter, so could be
True.
worse, I guess.
Yeah, I mean they were also doing the weird thing where technically it was a Disney Plus thing, but they didn't actually add it to Disney Plus. It's the deal they have with like Hulu, where like a lot of the Disney Plus anime for some reason just go to Hulu here unless you're not in the US, it goes to like Disney Plus. If you're not in the US, it goes to Disney Plus. If you're here, it goes to Hulu. Don't know why, but they did that for Heavenly Delusion as well.
Why?
I don't.
I
It's
mean,
some
just
kind of deal they
licensing
have.
issues, right?
Yeah, it's some like licensing thing. I think they did the same with Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens, which I still have to check out the dub for that at some point.
Goofy.
Okay, so that's the summertime rendering anime stuff. I'm not going to talk too much more about that. What I do want to bring up quickly is the author. They don't have many works under their belts. A lot of them are like very short one-shots up until this one, which I guess was their like most popular work so far.
Same thing with Fire Punch, right?
Yeah, I guess so. From what I remember, Fujimoto pretty much before Fire Punch, he just kept making a bunch of one-shots, so I guess that, yeah, from what I remember.
There's a pattern.
Indie authors.
Yeah. The one thing I did want to bring up, actually, and you'll probably think this is funny, Shadow, the fucking summertime rendering author started as an assistant for JoJo Steel Ball Run.
Oh, God.
So he was an assistant on Steel Ball Run at first. That's like his first credit. And then afterwards, it's like some...
Why me, though? Why me?
Because you're the JoJo pro in the fucking
I'm
server.
not! I'm the Mega Man guy!
You're both. You're the only one who talks the fuck most about JoJo in my server.
That's kind of sick. You wouldn't be able to tell based on their style.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Iraqi's is pretty iconic.
Yeah, I don't really know how Steel Ball Run's manga looks particularly, but yeah,
Look, my
I guess
friend
they.
said it's the best manga he's ever read, so
Well,
Steel
there
ball
you go.
run.
It
So
looks like a steel ball that runs.
wow, based.
Baller.
Anyway, so he started with that, and then eventually he made some other series called Jamas Vu or whatever, which is, I think they call that one of the episodes of Summertime Rendering, and it's basically a very similar premise where like there's another Earth that they find that's full of aliens that look exactly like them and try to kill them. So, you know,
That seems
I mean,
similar.
it's a little prequel one shot. It's a one shot though, so it's not like it's like a whole series that he's trying out again. So I kind of give it a pass or whatever.
That's fair.
So he's tried this idea before, and I guess he really liked the idea to the point where he wanted to mess around with it a bit. And so for this one, they decided to base it on like that similar kind of premise with a sort of ReZero kind of twist to it, and a like a small island, like small village kind of vibe. So it's like, to me, when I read Summertime Rendering, I just think it's a mixture of like ReZero and Higurashi. And I mean, I think that's a cool like
I see
mixture.
the zero part. I don't know what Higurashi
Yeah.
is.
Well, the Higurashi would be the like time loop murder like fest kind of deal, which
Okay.
I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't even
children
know.
getting stabbed in the throat part would be the Higurashi part. Repeatedly.
Yeah.
Right. And the island is like based on it's not a real island, but it's based on a real one. But the real island doesn't actually have anybody that lives on. It's like an abandoned island that used to be like some war-related
Spoilers.
thing or something like that. What do you mean spoilers? This is a real fucking island.
Joke
What do you
that
mean?
Everyone on the island dies.
Oh,
Real.
yeah, that must have been what happened. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, like the.
What is for real life,
whatever
Wolford?
the-
Come on.
How that like one disease took out the fucking American island or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Oh, damn.
Roanoke or whatever.
Yeah, that bitch.
That bitch. Wow.
I don't get this Nick Vice.
That
is
bitch.
female.
Okay, so this came out. This started releasing in like 2017, so it's fairly recent manga, and then it ended in like 2021. Like, so that's about a year before the actual anime started. So this is a fairly recent manga, and as soon as I saw the first couple of colored pages with the art style, I'm like, this is really fucking amazing looking. I thought it looked really good. I want more colored pages from this artist. Every cover of this series, I think, is fucking great.
I actually had something that I have a lot of things that I want to say, but
Yes,
I had
yes.
something that I wanted to say about the colored part. In general, throughout the entire manga, I think that the like pixelated like error in rendering is really cool. But the way that the first part was drawn made it look like the main character Shinpei like was recording it on a camcorder or something,
Right.
and that's not the route that it took. But I feel like that would have been an interesting way to end up doing it, is if like Summertime Rendering had been literal, like he was taking like a video of everything that was
Yeah.
happening.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that was just like my comment on the first chapter, is like that was the impression that it gave,
Right.
which like I didn't mind the subversion of expectations, but I kind of liked the idea that it was originally in like first person.
Yeah, that is a really cool concept. In fact, there is a artist I know who did that concept, and his name is Tatsuki Fujimoto, and it was called Goodbye Eri. It's a very amazing one shot, which is literally filmed like a found film. What is it called? Found film footage thing.
Found footage.
Found footage, yeah. It's a manga whose just entire thing is just found footage, and it has a whole bunch of cool concepts, and it has a physical release, and I have it, and it's amazing. I even did a video on it. It's great. So if you are interested in that idea, definitely check that out, because it doesn't have the murder time loop stuff, but it has its own interesting kind of ideas with it. So if you're interested in
Yeah.
a first person manga, definitely check that out.
Also, another
That's cool.
great example of found footage you may not have heard of. There was this movie a while back called Blair Witch.
Oh yeah.
So actually, I think the only found footage film that I've ever seen was Earth to Echo, which is really funny because from what I've heard, that was actually a really subpar in terms of found footage movies. But I think in general, just like in particular, the idea of shooting an entire thing in first person, because it's not something that you get a whole lot. Is really interesting in terms of like cinematography and stuff.
Right. Yeah,
It feels a lot more like not natural, but
it feels more real. Like, and that's what makes it like more sort of impressive that it was shot like that.
Yeah.
You
My
know?
only issue is some first persons just make me fucking sick. Like Hardcore Henry, I just couldn't watch.
You know what? Speaking of found footage, there's a game that kind of like that. It's called Kane Lynch 2.
Oh, damn.
It's not good.
Oh, all right. Glowing
Very
recommendation.
not good.
I've seen... There's a few... I like found footage films that I've seen, or found footage movies, whatever the term you use. The ones that I really liked, Chronicle is probably my favorite of all time. Just teens that discover they have superhero powers, but it's like all filmed, and it's really good. And Cloverfield, I liked it. I think that was like my first found footage film I ever watched. I was like really young, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And then I watched back on it later. I'm like, oh my god, this is like, okay. Like it wasn't terrible. It wasn't the worst thing, but I was like, man, I really hyped this up in my head when I was younger. It was like MTV level monster movie shit. And I'm like, what the fuck?
I mean, that's just what happens as a kid, okay?
Yeah.
Bro, that movie was so good to me. I borrowed that from the library several times growing up to watch it over again.
Damn.
Old.
I know, true. We didn't have Netflix back then, back in those days. Not that was accessible.
Yeah, back then we had Netflix on the Wii.
Wholly unrelated. I actually had a very similar experience with Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, where like that was one of my favorite children's movies. And then when I grew up and tried to watch it again, it's like it's so long. It drags, and I didn't like realize as a kid.
Right.
Told,
okay. This is all really cool. I don't want us to keep talking about found footage stuff for too long. So let's continue on from that. So you were mentioning that because of like the initial color pages looking like that, and that was supposed to be like a dream sequence. Was kind of like it was viewed like that. The one other thing I will bring up that has to do with like, I guess, the main character's perspective of these events or whatever. After that first scene, you don't see it from his view, but she does something to him in the first scene. He's like, close your eyes or something like that, and something happens. He doesn't know what happened or whatever. And it probably had something to do with the fact that he has this power now that we find out about later. But what they make apparent in the anime that's like less apparent in the manga, I mean, it's sort of kind of apparent later on once the looping starts, is one of his eyes just has a different color. But it's never addressed at the beginning of the anime, so you just assume he's always had two different colored eyes, like heterochromia or whatever. And then like after the first one, he's like, wow, my eye looks different. But it's like a very, very different color, and it has been the whole time, in the anime at least. So I don't know why they did it like that in the anime, it just never kind of addressed it. But in the manga, it's kind of like less noticeable because it's all gray anyways, so.
Yeah.
I noticed it because it's very main character syndrome.
Yeah.
But that answers one of the questions that I had on my notes.
Right. Well, so how do we want to do this? Like, how thorough are the questions? You want to just go with yours to start with for us, or?
Sure. A lot of them are really theoretical. Like, kind of thinking about what's going to happen in the future. But a couple of them, like my first one is Shinpei related to the mother, and like him having her eye and stuff. And I think that in like the first chapter he mentions being an orphan and brought in by Neo's family. So my assumption was that he was related to the shadows in some way.
I see. Well, okay. So before we start answering those questions, I guess for the sake of the video and the people watching who might not have fully read the series themselves or whatever, let's just briefly talk about the overall premise and like what happens, I guess. So Shinpei has been gone from this island for what, like 2 years or something like that? Yeah. And he returns back because the woman in the cover here, Ushio, I think is her name, right? Ushio Kofune. She has passed away, and he's coming back to the island for her funeral. He has a dream sequence with her, and it was like weird to him or whatever, and he wakes up and immediately puts his face on this woman with glasses like in her chest on the ferry, and she smacks him as like the opening scene for him. So you had like this opening shot with like this woman in like a fucking swimsuit, and then he's putting his face in a woman's chest, and then he gets off the boat, and immediately his like childhood friend drives down on a bike, flashes her panties as she's like flying into the water because she just like hit her bike or whatever.
At this moment, I realize it's gonna be one of those, isn't it?
Yeah, I had the same thought.
I was worried about that, and then there was like very little of that past that initial scene.
Yeah, I like how unfazed he was genuinely by all of it.
He was just like, yeah, this is normal.
And like the comment that he had later about her panties was literally like, oh, she had the same ones in the last loop, and that was it. That was all he said about it. And I was like, you know what, dude, I admire you.
Listen, it's important, okay? That's how you identify that. It's very important. It's integral to the plot, all right, to see those panties. Okay? But so those events, I guess I understand why they're in there in the story, because they're supposed to stick out to you as like these starting things, so that when the looping starts, you start to realize, wait a minute, this thing was supposed to happen beforehand. Yeah, we've been here before, and this thing was supposed to happen before. Why didn't we see that happen again? And things like that. And that's where
it could have been anything else, though.
That's true. I'm assuming because, you know, like we said, there isn't any like fan service like that as much any like later on, other than like a shower scene with Mio or whatever. Other than that, like, you don't really see it, so I can only really assume they did that to try to, like, you know, instill that kind of, like, oh, yeah, this event happened towards the beginning, so you don't forget the beginning events or whatever. I feel like it's kind of a cheap way to do it, but whatever, okay, that's fine.
Sure.
We get the quirky fan service out of the way for the horror that's about to begin, the bloody horror, very bloody horror. So, he's there for the funeral. He's an orphan who's been adopted by the Kofunes, so they pretty much grew up together, and... they do the funeral. He meets up with his childhood friend. Ushio died from trying to save this little girl who was drowning. There was like a flash at the funeral, which is related to things we find out later. He finds out that Ushio might have actually been murdered because they what was it? They found strangulation marks on her or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on her neck.
So they don't think she drowned saving the little girl. They think she was murdered. And then it's revealed later that it was probably a shadow version of Ushio who looks just like her, because they saw a woman who looked exactly like her. And this is where I find out the antagonists are like shadow people who look exactly like the people on the island. They turn once a shadow has your identity, they try to kill you so they can take your place, pretty much.
I actually had a theory about that.
Yeah.
So I don't remember what the little girl's name was who was like
Shiori or something like that.
Shioni or something like that. I actually, my thought, and I had this thought at like 11 p.m. last night, or like the night before. My thought actually might be that it was her and her shadow that killed Ushio, because by the time we get to the funeral, she's already a shadow. Right. We don't know what happened to the original little girl. So either the original girl like drowned and Ushio didn't manage to save her, or I was thinking that it's possible that that girl's shadow was actually who killed Ushio.
Right. I was thinking things similar, not about, I was thinking what I thought had happened, and maybe there's going to be revealed to be some kind of switch, because we do meet up with Ushio's shadow later on, and they don't remember anything that's going on. When we do that, my initial thought was maybe
just happened.
Maybe this is actually Ushio. She killed her shadow, and then doing that actually did something to her memories or something like that. And this is actually Ushio, and that she killed the shadow or whatever. I don't know. But then the other shadow people just basically say that she's a traitor. So it sounds like that she's actually one of the shadow people. But there's something weird going on with her and her memories. So I don't know. Maybe it's something like, because she died and the shadow didn't like eat the body or whatever, you have to do that to like complete your transition, and if you don't, you don't really remember it. Maybe they like flashed to get their memories and then didn't eat them, so they just, I don't know, something weird.
I have another comment about that.
Yeah.
So for those again who haven't read it, later in, I think it's when he's going from the second to the third time loop, Shinpei, again, actually in between every single time loop, Shinpei sees Ushio in the time travel process.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I think was weird and atypical because she's the only one he sees. So my thought was the idea that maybe Ushio and her shadow were somehow related to the time travel thing, which is why it would have fucked up her shadow's memories. Because somehow she's like getting caught in the crossfire of like Shinpei's time travel. My other point out about that was the fact that she had blonde hair. And the fact that she was considered like a foreigner. It's like it's passed off as an explanation that she's a foreigner, but like maybe there's something more going on there.
Yeah.
And the fact that she does seem to have some ability to either sense or become part of the time traveling. But I feel like it's possible that might be part of why her memories are so fucked up. But I hadn't considered the consuming of the body to be part of it.
Yeah, I do remember they pointed out something, and I don't know if it's going to come into play symbolically later, about the religion on the island and their concept of like objects that drift ashore. They like keep it and then burn and all, and like the ceremony as like a kind of thing for the gods or whatever.
Right.
And I was thinking that, and I was like, oh, Ushio died, and then they brought her on, and then they cremated her body. Maybe that's something that's some like part of the religion is playing into it, or something like that. Because we definitely have some weird like deity and god shit going on with like the mother shadow thing or whatever. So,
well, that's funny that you bring that up because the end of chapter 20 shows her shadow also being washed up on the beach.
Right. Yeah. So there's a lot of like interesting angles with that. I think we should actually like I think we just kind of jumped into it, but Shinpei starts time looping because of like his eye thing that he has. Apparently that's related to the mother shadow or whatever. There's like their eye, and for some reason he has the power of their eye, which allows him to time loop. So whenever he dies, he actually just resets back to like July 22nd when he shows up. But it seems the more he loops, the further ahead in the timeline he resets to. So certain things that have happened, like at some point he tries to block Mio before she falls into the water on her bike, and he ends up going into the water too. And after like I think the third loop, he's like restarting after that event. So like that event is now permanent. He can't like undo that anymore. So we have this ReZero element, which I was a little worried about, because in ReZero there's some tension with ReZero, but most of it is just how Subaru is going to get out of the situation, because at any point when he dies, he resets back to like the same exact point, or like a checkpoint that's established later that he can do things at. But it's not like something that like forces him forward each time he does it. It just sucks for him to do it because dying hurts, and that's something that fucks with him psychologically. And I was worried with this
Also,
that it was going to be similar to that.
Gruesome.
Yeah, true. I was like worried, like, you know, that okay, so if he just keeps dying, this is basically going to be like fucking what's that Zelda game, Majora's Mask or whatever kind of deal, or ReZero kind of deal, where like you can just reset all the way back to the beginning. You know all the events are going to happen. You can change things around, see what different result you're going to get, and if you can do it as many times as you want, then you know who's going to stop you. But now you have the ticking clock element to it, which for most protagonists would make things far more difficult. Except Shinpei is actually a smart as fuck protagonist, which was refreshing to see.
Yeah,
finally.
This is like, I think, the first time I had a character be in a time loop kind of situation, and he didn't freak out for. Yeah, he wasn't freaking out about the whole thing for like 3 volumes before he started doing shit. Like, I think immediately after, on the second loop, he was like, okay, I'm gonna record the shadow that's murdering people or something like that. Or no, I think it was the third loop, because no, or wasn't it the second? Oh yeah, no, he found out that Mio was standing in front. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he knew Mio's shadow was going to show up. So he set up a camera. He like accounted for everything. He was like, I'm going to erase all the files on my phone. I'm going to set it up in this one location. I'm going to turn off the ringer. I'm going to set to airplane mode. I'm like, God damn, he's going through like all the steps to make sure he's not caught.
Cooking.
Holy shit. But the downside, which made it interesting, is Shinpei's shadow is also really fucking smart.
Yeah.
Especially when he flashes and gains his new memories and realizes, oh, you're time looping, aren't you? And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah,
oh no.
How many times has he done this shit,
too.
eh?
I and it up leading to a conversation that I had with my supervisor about how horrifying, like we were talking about horror films in class and sci-fi horror, and the fact that one of his least favorite movies is The Thing, because the horror gimmick is the fact that it can copy people. And he was talking about that, and I was like, yeah, this manga that I'm reading is arguably even worse because they copy your memories too. So you can establish a safe word, but now they know the safe word, and that
that's
Shadow. He said Mesopotamia.
Yeah. I thought that was funny at first, where they like established the code word and then they tried to use it, and he was immediately like, what the fuck are you talking about? Or, he was like busy in his room and he didn't actually say it, and they passed it off as a joke. And I was gonna be like, oh, so they're not actually gonna take the safe word seriously or whatever. And then they do later for like a scene, and then it turns out at that moment you think everything's fine, but like Ushio Shadow's just being an idiot and showing up when she's not supposed to. But then it turns out that's actually the Shadow Shinpei who knows the code word, and then you find out Shinpei just got swapped like 10 minutes ago or so like that, and I was like, oh damn, this is what we're doing with that. Holy shit. And it kind of gets me really, really hyped to find out, like, because I was worried. Because I'm like, all right, we're seeing, like, the climax of the Shadow's plan already, like, 2 days into being on the island or something like that. Where are you going to go from that? But now it's like they have these, like, back and forth kind of, like, you know, mind games with each other, having to do with, like, the memories and the events and the time loop limitation, and I don't know what's going to happen. I am still concerned about the time restriction, because it seems like they end everything at the ceremony, so I am still worried about the time limit that he kind of has.
Yeah, it seems like a really short time. So it's he's got 2 days till ceremony, right?
Right, but we also have 13 volumes, so I feel like they come up with something to keep the story going at least. So.
The other thing I noticed is that after being told that there's a limit to his power, not only he noticed that there was the latency, but that next loop was the first chapter where he threw up afterwards. Right. And my question was, like, is that a shock response to the fact that he just died? But, like, that arguably wasn't the worst death that he had. The worst one was probably the choking to death on his own blood. Right. So my thing was, like, is it possible that as it goes on, his physical health is also going to deteriorate and make things more difficult as it goes on, because it's, like, burning up his body?
Yeah, maybe.
Dying repeatedly would.
At the very least, you should be, like, psychologically fucked, like, eventually.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, that happens in Steins Gate for, like, when he gets stuck in that loop to, like, pretty much try to live the same exact day, to live peacefully, to keep Suzuha alive or something like that. And he loses his fucking mind. He goes crazy. In the visual novel, it's, like, way worse with where his mind goes to, too. But, you know, and then in ReZero 2, he has, like, entire breakdowns where he's like, I can't fucking do this. This shit hurts. Everything I do feels like I can't make any progress towards this. I don't understand what I can do to make things better. And, like, for Shinpei, it's even worse, because every time he fails, he's losing another, like, more time. So
yeah,
it hurts, and he's losing time, and, like, that's gonna fuck him up. I don't know.
I literally have a note on here that's just, the conflict escalated very abruptly, lol, which you touched on.
Right.
The fact that suddenly you're at, like, the climax of the conflict in, like, volume 2.
Yeah, I'm worried about that. Like, is there going to be some, what the Shadows are doing, does it have to be during the ceremony, or was it really convenient for them just because they have a lot of, like, bodies to, like, collect at that time or something like that? Because I'm assuming the next step in Shinpei's plan would be to do something to try to get the ceremony canceled or, like, pushed away for some reason. Because I can't imagine what else you would pretty much do to stop the Shadows there if you know that that's where they're going. But I don't know. Anything could pretty much happen at this point. But now it seems like he's going to meet up with the lady with the glasses.
Yeah.
Because she shows up with a shotgun to save him from the Neo Shadow, and basically sort of explains what's going on with the Shadows, because she's the author of this book, the Swamp Man book or whatever, that he actually read and thought that he had just, like, had a dream based on, which is basically the same exact premise, like, Shadows show up, take over a village or whatever, and it seems like that book was actually just written from a real account that she has from it, because she definitely knows that these are like creatures that exist, and she's there to like try to exterminate them, I guess.
Non-fiction.
Yeah, pretty much. I fucking love her character design. Don't know what the fuck she's talking about with the food ramblings. Also,
it all makes sense eventually, probably.
Also confused with like the recordings. It sounded like they were to herself, because I think she was saying her name, but I don't. But like she didn't like just say like a note to. She said like a note to like the author's name, but like the author's also her name. Maybe it's not actually. Maybe she's not actually the author. She just told Shinbei that that's her name or whatever. I don't know.
She is the author.
Okay.
Read ahead a little bit in volume 3. She is the author.
Okay. Spoilers.
Sorry, interesting thing. Her age is the only one not disclosed in chapter 20.5, which I thought was interesting.
I'll never tell.
I think
the 3 questions you ever ask? That's one.
I think the food ramblings is really interesting, and obviously this is the college kid like analysis, but it kind of serves as a way to remind you that like she is a tourist on the island, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think that it's a really interesting juxtaposition where she'll be talking about something that she hasn't experienced in the middle of her like killing these shadows that she's obviously familiar with.
Right.
So I think that's an interesting character quirk that they incorporated.
Yeah. One thing I did want to bring up, because it seemed like, when things loop, different events can happen. But I think on like the first time before it even started looping, they had somebody come into the restaurant thinking that he was asking for that woman with the glasses already. Well, they described it as the woman with the big breasts or whatever. But it sounded like the restaurant owner was talking about some other loop that's happening later. But
It sounded like he was. I agree with you.
I thought it sounded like that, but then it could have just been Shinpei's shadow, because this is the day after the funeral. But then I was thinking, why would that shadow have even known about the glasses woman if they don't find out about that until later? But then again, we have time travel antics, so I guess anything could have happened later on.
So she mentions, she mentions that she's been to this island before,
right?
So I would imagine that if it is a shadow, like you suggested, they probably have experience with her in the past.
I see. Well, considering she's hunting them, probably, yeah. But yeah, I did think that made sense with like she's like, oh, the human bodies you see from them, they're actually just big humps of like meat or whatever. They're not their actual body. It's like a puppet or whatever. Their actual body is their shadow, so you just shoot the shadow. So and that apparently is like their weakness. You just hit the shadow on the ground directly, which I think that's weird when it's like nighttime. How does that work? Are they just everywhere?
So actually, so I have 2 points on that. One is that I thought it was interesting that so far the only way that you see them killed is with shotguns. You see it with the nature guide too, at the end of the volume.
Yeah,
so
right.
I kind of noted something like is the only way to kill them, because the nature guide also mentions that he's seen them. So now I'm sitting here like, is this like a supernatural you can only kill them with a certain kind of like shotgun bullet? I'm sure that that's not the case, but I thought that it was interesting.
It turns out shotgun's just effective.
The other thing that's fair. The other thing that I noted is they remind me a lot of the Vashta Narada from Doctor Who, which obviously this was published afterwards. I don't know what the guy's inspiration would have been, but in Doctor Who with the Vashta Narada, you can't touch shadows. That's how they attach themselves to you and end up consuming your body. So maybe it's possible that the nighttime, like you were saying, like they're everywhere at that point, because they have the ability to travel without necessarily needing a body at that point.
Right. Like it seemed like the body is just something that they use to like move around the place during the day more easily. But But
They're
I
in the
don't know.
walls,
I have various
Wolfborg.
questions about that because obviously in their actual shadow forms they can't do anything, so that's why they have to manifest as like these real people so that they can
But
actually do things to people.
No, because there's that shadow at the end that is able to form a working shotgun out of his arm.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
I think it might
feel
just be
like-
the exception.
I
That's
feel like
like a
that
big
giant
shadow.
boss, the
Yeah.
giant shadow thing seemed like a weird like collection of like all the bodies that they had piled up or some shit like that. I don't know. It like, I just mean like, sure they can manifest as these different things, but like it still has to manifest in a physical way. It sounded like it looked like a giant like black blob of things that was like moving around as opposed to like kind of like a a shape on the ground or whatever, the shadow or whatever. Because I try to think to myself, like, if I'm a shadow and I want to take over the place, if I can kill people in just my shadow
What's
form,
God?
yeah, well, if I can kill people, why would I ever want to do it in a human body? If I'm just a shadow that can like take over fucking people or like attack them as a shadow on the ground, what are they gonna do to stop me? They're not even gonna realize it's happening until it's too late. So that's what makes me think that like they have to assume these forms to kill people so that they can like, because they can't really interact with things physically other than doing that.
I
but
think
I
it's
don't
more
know.
than just power levels. Like
Maybe. Anything
Like,
could we
some
like
of them are
there's
just stronger.
right. There's a
we're,
lot for us to
we're
learn.
so early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot for us to learn, and we got 13 chapters to learn it, so I'm sure it'll be explained later. These
13
are just
volumes.
these are just some initial questions that kind of go through my head with that. And obviously, like, this is not the point where it's like, oh, this is bullshit. They haven't explained why this works, or like this is something that we could wait for. It's not
Yeah,
like
of course.
it's not like I hope it's not gonna be like Fujimoto just later on being like, oh, the fact that doesn't make sense, that's proof that he's a god.
Oh, God damn it.
Well, I mean, that was just
Oh no!
that was just the author being like cheeky, being like, "Oh, you guys talk shit about that logic that I ignored. Well, guess what? Boom, proof that he's a god. Easy."
None of his
clap.
logic makes sense.
Hajimoto at it again.
I listen, okay. I kneel before writer God
He
Fujimoto.
keeps coming back.
Yes, true. Okay, so for this, I'm sure we're gonna have plenty of time for answers for those kind of things. I am interested to learn about crazy old guy on the island. That guy seems like he's
Yeah,
gonna,
it seems like it's gonna be interesting.
yeah, so that guy seems like he's going to be super cool. The whole island setup, I didn't think I was going to be that interested in Isolated Island. And then I just realized that how small of a scope that is. Like, I can't imagine there's a lot of people at all in this. I'm just like thinking to myself, like, man, how do people live on abandoned islands like this? I feel like there's so much shit that you don't
Bro really
have,
just said, how
and-
do you live on an abandoned island? It's fucking abandoned, you idiot. Nobody lives there.
You know what I mean? An isolated
You know
island.
what?
You
No,
fucking
no,
semantic
no.
fuck. I will destroy
know
you.
where
I will
you're from.
destroy you. I will destroy you. This
I
is-
feel like
You know my
that.
country of origin? It's an island.
Ooh.
So I feel like that maybe the old crazy dude might be like I was here before everyone else, and some of the
Right, you're
island
ninth,
is like
not 7.
newer, and like the knowledge he has from what he's seen is what's driving him crazy type deal. Like
Yeah.
you know how like the
Yeah, he's the quirky sensei character.
and his grandma. He's heard about the shouts from his grandfather. I thought he said too. So like, they've been.
Yeah.
It's been like through his family. Like, goddamn.
Also very suspicious that he's missing one of his eyes. Just pointing that out.
Ooh,
I didn't think of
I didn't
that.
even notice that, but ooh.
I was thinking, I have that written down as like, wow, it's really suspicious that the mother, Shinpei, and this like guy who seems to know a lot all have like the motif of the mismatched eyes. So there's that.
I guess we'll find out.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, there
well, the
was
mother
also-
I assume has
Oh.
the mismatch eye because
Yeah.
Shinpei has one of them.
Right.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Turin?
I was gonna point out there was something interesting where we saw the shadow in the wheelchair. I thought was interesting.
Oh yeah,
Shadow in the wheelchair.
at the very end of the last chapter.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Huh.
There's a shadow that looks sickly, like in a wheelchair.
Right, yeah.
Huh. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it's Grandpa's shadow.
It's you. You were the villain the whole time, weren't you, Shadow? It was you.
I knew it.
This
Hold
is
on,
Canada.
hold on.
This is Canada invading a small Japanese island.
Now that
I knew you bring this up. Okay,
Is that why they talk like that? Is that why they talk? Do they talk with a Canadian accent? Is that what's going on here? That's something I want to talk about too. Okay, I understand they're supposed to have a Kansai dialect or whatever.
oh my fucking
Why
god! it's
did they
so annoying to
translate it like that
read.
in the manga? I'm
It's
hearing them
so
say
annoying to
"woke," and I'm
read.
thinking it's like a fucking Wisconsin accent. and I hear them saying "just do this" or whatever, like JES. I'm like, why didn't you just write JUS if you're doing it? I don't know. It just annoys me for some reason. How
My
they
brain
decide to
hitches
do it.
every time they try to do the accent.
Yeah. Yar
The
doing
one
this.
the one that annoys me most is Yar because I read it as yada, like yada
Oh,
yada.
yeah.
That's what I assume it is.
For me, it's
no.
either yare or it's yar, like a pirate sound. And I'm like,
Like,
yar woke, right? Just say it.
Like Wolfborg. Okay, this is Shadow Man. Your one's a Shadow. Okay, very different.
Like a Kansai accent is supposed to be, like the Japanese equivalent of like some country accent, right? So I understand you got to do some tweaking or whatever, especially towards the line at the beginning where Mio's just like, "Wow, you sound like you're from the city or whatever. Like your accent has changed or whatever."
Hey, you! I made the
In,
islands.
in most other anime that they have a Kansai accent, they usually either just make it like country American sounding, or it's like Brooklyn accent for some reason. There was one case, New Game has a character, I fucking love New Game, has one character who has a Kansai accent, which they sort of kind of forgot to do in the first season of the dub, but then they brought back in the second season at random times. In the manga, they decided to translate a Kansai accent as like a fucking Cockney British accent for some reason. So you just have shit like, the fuck is all this? Like when her siblings are fighting or whatever, and it's like, oh my god, this sounds
kind of
amazing.
amazing, though.
Yeah,
This
it
is
was
amazing.
actually an amazing choice for it, even though like maybe it doesn't make sense if it's like a country thing, but it's just fun to read. I would rather see it like that, but
Yeah, 100%. I'd rather fucked up Cockney accent than Yar.
Yar just gotta save me, or okay?
That
Yeah, I'm not-
literally sounds like the accent that they use for the pirate world in Sonic Prime.
Yeah, I'm not trying to read multiple pieces here. I'm trying to read some of the time running.
Oh my god. I like, at least it's like when the shadows are like talking towards the end of volume 2, like it's not the shadow talking a fucking thick Kansai accent of Shinpei trying to explain stuff or whatever.
It'd
I'm
be
like,
funny though. It'd be
please.
funny.
I don't want him to
Well,
say
so-
like, "You're all going to die." Okay.
So Shinpei, actually, if you notice a lot of his dialogue, really the only thing that he picks up is the woke.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it would make sense, and it would honestly be really good dialogue writing if, as the series goes on, he adopts a lot more of those accent things because he's
He
there for
becomes a
longer.
pirate. Let's go.
So thematically that would be good, right?
Yeah.
But every single time they do the accent thing, it takes me out a little bit because I'm just looking at the fucking word, going, "What is this shit?" That it makes it hard
For
to.
some reason, I didn't notice that. I'm not sure why.
It's because it's actually
I did.
Canadian. It's fine. It's
It
a
was painful.
Canadian accent. They're gonna say they bet instead of beat. They're gonna say sorry. They're gonna be very sorry.
Some of the pages where they
No
lay
one
it
says
thick
that,
are
you know
really
that, Wolfborg.
painful.
What'd you say, Justin?
Oh, I said some of the pages where they lay it like really thick in the dialogue, it's like real fucking painful to read.
It's like every time with Ushio too, where they're like showing up to like say some like important cryptic shit or like some like fucking sad stuff or whatever in some flashback, and I'm just like, oh my god, I have to dissect her saying woke and just do this or whatever. I don't.
I might just have autocorrect in my head. That's the problem.
Listen.
Yeah, and the most annoying part is like so when I'm consuming media that it like isn't a movie or I'm writing or something, I animate it in my head so that it like I am watching a movie or something in my head.
Yeah, I get
I
that. You
can't-
see the scene.
I can't hear their accents. I
Yeah.
can't figure out what they're supposed to sound like
Because
because
it
I
Yeah.
feels
don't
like
know
it's going in several different directions for me. Like I can't stick it to one accent because it seems like it's doing like I don't know. I think
It
the
doesn't
translator
thematically
tried.
feel like one accent. accent.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the translators never actually translated a Kansai accent before, so they weren't sure what to do, but they knew it was important because it was brought up at some point. Honestly, I probably would have been better if like they didn't actually try to translate it.
Yeah,
just because it just
like,
keeps taking me out.
mentioned it offhand or something.
I
Yeah,
would prefer they didn't.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's like probably like the only like main complaint I have about this series. I think was just that keeps annoying me a little bit, and this is like the official translation. That's a little annoying. The one thing I did want to, me and Shadow, well, I don't think Shadow saw this. I don't think I was streaming it at the time, but I had mentioned when I was looking up the official release of this, Udon Entertainment is like the people who published the English version.
Oh yeah, you mentioned it. Yeah.
And on the website, they have one review of this, and it's a 1-star review from somebody, and it's a dude being very, very angry about how, like, saying how horrible it is never to get it because they censored like 3 panels that show Mio's nipples for some, like the shower scenes and stuff like that. And they're like people like him and some other people. I tried looking into like how bad it was, and it was just other people being very angry at like the 3 panels they censored, so they weren't showing like a 16-year-old's nipples in a shower scene that didn't matter.
Crazy.
I guess that's what happens when you know it's coming and you're furiously masturbating, and then you get to the page and then there's no nipples, and you lose your erection.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't relate to it, sorry.
I feel like people like that, like they got tricked by the first like 3 incidents in the like first chapter. The swimsuit girl, and then the face and the tits, and then the panty shot.
You're right.
Like they probably got
That's
tricked by
fair.
all those into thinking there was going to be way more fan service, and they were very disappointed to see that the few times they got something, it was censored by Udon Entertainment because they didn't want to show a fucking 16-year-old naked. I don't know, but
I have 2 more notes.
yes.
That I wrote
What are your
down.
notes? What are your notes?
Okay, so the first one was actually something that one of my coworkers taught me about, again, during that whole horror sci-fi. That was something that I didn't know about, which was I guess there's like a Japanese myth that cameras or taking pictures like captures the essence of a human soul.
Yeah,
That's why you can't see vampires.
Fatal Frame.
Yeah, so that was the thing where I'd mentioned, like, if he happened to provide some information on that in 20.4 or 20.5, like, I hadn't read that, but it was something that I thought was interesting and I wanted to bring up. And then the other one is definitely me reaching a little bit, but...
Let's see it.
So I'll read exactly what I wrote because I'm not sure how else to describe it.
Okay.
But it was, what does the mother's other eye allow for? Is it space related since the shadows modify space and she sort of appeared out of nothing? And how did she use the time eye before she lost it? Was just like generally what I had written down for that. And as I was thinking it back, like maybe it's possible that the way that the eye interacts in the human body is not the same way that it interacts in her body. So her control over like this like time eye maybe doesn't actually benefit her in any way. Because like if you had that power, wouldn't you just like go to wherever you needed to like consume the power that you needed? But like whatever. Those were just the last few questions.
It's like
Well,
this
it
is
is
death,
limited.
so you know.
It might be limited for her too. So she might have gotten to a point where she couldn't go back and she lost the eye, even with like being able to go back.
Right.
That's fair.
Like how the MC has the chance of getting defeated in that sense, where he may hit a point where he can't fix it. She
Right.
might have
Yeah.
hit that point too.
Yeah, and like, there's a lot of questions that we'll still have about the mother at this point. It seemed like that, most of that ceremony was to revive her to full power, or like to some kind of a lot of power or whatever, so that she could do something that seemed to end everything if she gets to it.
It
Yeah.
seems like that just ends the world if we
Yeah,
hit that part. If she gets restored there.
yeah. Well, good thing Shinpei has that eye, the time loop meme eye, whatever that's gonna turn out to actually be. How he received this power from Dream Ushio, I don't know, time
knows?
travel bullshit. We'll find out later, I guess.
See, at this point, I don't think that's Ushio or that or I got it. Shinpei's not the god; it's Ushio. That's gonna be
Oh,
revealed
damn.
to be the god at the end.
God.
Oh damn.
It's really gonna be Higurashi.
Oh no. Yeah. So like I really like the I didn't think I was gonna give a shit about the setting, but I like the setting with how it like sets up each of the characters and their dynamics in this kind of place. You got the crazy wise old man dude that everyone just kind of probably ignores because he just rambles on about the shadows probably.
Yeah.
Policeman.
You got this mystery like writer girl who's going around this place looking for, I don't even remember what it was called, but it was some kind of like tourist food, but like she's also investigating these shadows and like hanging upside down from trees watching them and stuff like that.
As you do.
You know, Mio and like her father run this like restaurant, a bistro that people go to. The one cop, there's like one cop down on the island, and he's like barely a cop. He's like coming into the fucking bistro and immediately just looking at porn on his phone.
You undo that, Wolfborg? You undo that?
Listen,
He's actually the guy that complained about the nipple censorship.
Yeah, true, it was him. It was the police officer.
Also, the
Officer right there.
It was him, the police officer.
one thing that keeps fucking me up is that I don't drink soda and stuff. I only drink like water. And one really popular flavor watering is Mio. So every time I read Mio, I just like for a split second I'm thinking of just flavored water. It keeps messing me up.
Let's see.
Yes.
I like Mio's shadow as like this cutesy looking fucking murder knife. There's like one shot from the anime that I think I used for like one of the thumbnails of my review articles of the episodes, where it's just her with like a ooh woo kind of face, but like holding a bloody knife or whatever. And I think that same exact frame was here in the manga too, because you know obviously it would have been based on the manga, but it's just like the like shadow versions of these people, they like retain some of the traits. So that makes me wonder, is Mio actually just underneath like a fucking psychopath and just holding it back?
That would be a really
always assume the worst.
interesting like turn.
Yeah.
Because I was just thinking about the fact that like it seems like some of the shadows do retain their personality, because Mio's shadow is definitely like very closed off, like I want to get the job done, whereas Shinpei's is almost like more talkative than Shinpei is.
Well, he's got the bird's eye view, just like our main character just keeps focusing on the bird's eye view. I don't think I remember them saying the bird's eye view once in the anime, and this one's like every 3 fucking pages. Bird's eye view, bird's eye view.
I don't think Mio's secretly a psychotic person, just because the other shadows as well were also psychotic when they were killing people. Like So, I don't know how to say his name.
So
he was like murdering on top of the real Mio, being like, "Oh, how tragic!" into his skull, driving the X. I think they're just psychotic when they're murdering humans.
Nah,
like
maybe
that.
this is him really letting it out. Maybe he really wants to murder Shinpei so he can finally date Mio. Because Mio, there's like a whole romance elements to this too, where like So likes Mio, but Mio clearly has feelings for Shinpei.
Who is her adopted brother?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question. This keeps happening. Why?
Because anime. All right. I don't know what to tell you. It's a thing.
Why does the almost incest keep happening? Why?
Listen, okay, it happens. It's been known to happen. It'll keep happening in every light novel you ever read. All right, it's fine. I shouldn't say it's fine, but it's accepted at this point for the most part by most fans. I don't know if I accept it most of the time, but it happens. It's been known to happen.
I just kind of ignore it.
Yeah, pretty much, because it's not really going anywhere, no matter how much you complain.
Unless it's Luna. Unless it's Luna.
Oh yeah, from Fire Punch. Yeah. Listen. At that point, they're no longer actually related at all. He just has tricked himself or the woman into thinking that she is his sister, which is a different layer of fucked up. But it's not incest. But it's not incest fucked up. So it's acceptable.
Yeah, it's not incest because it's a proxy of his sister.
Yeah, true. There you go.
No, I was thinking the Luna in his head. They kept telling him to become Fire Punch, but that works too.
Listen. Everything's fine. Shadow is taking over an entire island. That's pretty impressive of you,
I
Shadow.
just posted on Discord, okay? There's Shadow Man, there's Shadow. There's also Nightmare, just so you guys don't get that goofed up either, okay?
I don't think I was going to ever get Mega Man people goofed up. Don't worry.
Can't believe Shadow's literally a French colonizer.
I always knew. I always knew.
I
had
Shadow
my suspicions
Man.
from day one, okay?
Did you know that the last like 5 African countries to have a revolt are the ones that are French colonies?
I did not know that.
Well, now you do.
The
Thank
more
you.
you know.
And knowing is half the battle. Yes, exactly.
Joe.
All right, so Shadow, all I need you to not like create a shadow of my channel.
I'm
Okay,
telling
I
you,
need there to
it's
only
not.
be one Wolfborg channel. All right, I need my subs to come here. I don't need you to copy my memories and shit and make your own anime YouTube channel. Okay, don't need that.
Wolfborg.
Don't need that. I got my own. I need my subs. All right, I'm just saying. You got your own thing. You with the Mega Man.
Shadow's not the one you should be afraid of.
Oh no. Oh no. Is this where the knife comes out and the axe or whatever? Or?
No, that's Shadow, the enemy, not me.
Oh no. It's fine. It's fine. There's no festival anytime soon. So
Change
it'll
my
be
nickname
fine.
to Shadow. Shadow,
Oh, no.
Shadow Man V5.
Oh no.
It's not legal. It's not even a thing in the game, you fool. Mine's a reference. Yours isn't.
Oh damn. Get destroyed with Mega Man facts and logic. Anyways,
Fuck Mega Man.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to bring up. Yeah, so we have like this romance element going on with Mio, So, and all that, and I don't really care. I don't care at all so far for
Yeah, I
So
don't
in
care about
general.
that either.
So is probably like the least interesting character to me so far, at least.
What's so funny is actually in, I think, the second loop when Shinpei was telling him, he was so, like, not reactive. I actually thought that it was going to turn out he was a shadow.
Yeah,
in
I
that
thought so
loop.
too at
I was
first.
in impossible all the time, Shinpei.
I remember
I was like,
when I watched the
show some
anime, I thought that
emotion.
immediately. I was like, bro, So is definitely a shadow. There's
Among
no
No,
way.
it's definitely
Yeah.
a shadow.
I gotta get something off my chest quick because I
Yeah,
heard
what's
someone
up?
bring it up. Can we talk about really quick how Mega Man is just a shitty version of Samus?
Is that true? Is that true?
No, incorrect.
Damn.
It's just a garbage version of Samus. Samus is a better
garbage
character.
version. Wow. You're destroying this
it's
Fighting
man's,
aliens, saving the human race.
this
and Mega
man's
Man's just
entire
like,
identity.
I got
You're
a blaster.
destroying it. Oh my god.
Well, not only that, but I think Mega Man came, if I remember correctly, wasn't Mega Man like heavily inspired by Astro Boy, or is it the other
Yes.
way around?
Yes.
So
That's
Mega
right.
Man is literally just like not original.
Damn.
Look, man. Do you see Astro Boy or
Damn.
Samus copying other people's powers? Nah, I didn't think so.
Neither is Deadpool though, and people love Deadpool.
True.
No,
based.
I mean we could totally get into my whole debate about the fact that there's no original idea anymore. But
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, that
that's
too.
something for another stream.
Yes, not the summertime
Where's-
rendering stream. There's only original ideas in summertime rendering. We got time
Only
loops,
original,
murder
right.
mysteries, isolated island people, Kansai accents. These have never been used anywhere before.
Teens getting
Not,
their
not
throats
once
cut
ever.
and drowning on their own blood.
Murders revolving around festivals. Never seen that before in an
use
anime
of
that also
shotguns?
has time loops. Like I said,
Oh,
Yeah,
ReZero
never
like
seen yeah.
Wally
Higurashi.
being
This is
the
like-
villain.
was what? Oh yeah.
Wally being the villain.
Never seen that. Never seen that.
Never seen that before.
So this dude 100% has.
an X-Arm?
Yes, it did actually. Are you saying that this is based on X-Arm? Is that what you're saying? You're saying they got ideas from X-Arm?
Here's the real question: is the lolly ever not the villain?
The lolly is reformed technically in both X-Arm and No Game No Life. Also, in No Game No Life, the lolly villain is actually being manipulated. She really just likes to play video games. She really doesn't have any ill intent. So I would argue that technically the No Game No Life lolly is not the villain under I can't fucking remember what the word is.
Technicality, or
Yes, that one.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
I mean, in Higurashi, the god ends up being fucking the lolly.
In Mega Man, the lolly's the villain. He's the nurse.
damn. Was there a lolly in
You
Fire
know what?
Punch?
That feels worse.
What?
Oh,
Wait,
okay,
what?
no,
I didn't even
okay.
realize what you just said. Wait,
I don't know.
Uh,
She's the net operator of Medi, the nurse.
In Honkai Impact, actually. I mean, that's not an anime, that's a video game, but the lolly is an ally.
wow. Anyways, summertime rendering.
Yeah, so summertime rendering is interesting so far, though. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Very
it's
strong
pretty good.
beginning. I am still kind of worried about, like, you know, we basically see the climax of what the Shadows are trying to do. So I
Well, at least
wonder
for
what
now.
we're. Yeah, I wonder where it's going to go from here. But we got 13
So,
volumes, so it's not ending.
I had
anytime
an
soon.
idea about that.
Yeah.
So you brought that up earlier, where like obviously it's gonna go past that point. I just
Right.
assume it's gonna be like a thing where he's gonna get his power limited up to the point where they're about to, sacrifice everyone and summon Mother, and
Mhm.
then he's gonna fix it just enough where it gets stalled but doesn't fix the problem, and then the story will continue that way. Like we'll
Maybe,
still
yeah.
pass that point in the timeline to give us enough time to have more volumes, but the story will continue.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I also try to think to myself like it seems like there's not too much time for him to work around, but it actually might just feel like that because we time skip a lot for like events
Yeah.
to happen.
Yeah, I
throughout
think
a couple
Yeah.
loops.
was it 2 or 3 days? I know it was 2 days from the funeral, but was it 2 or 3 days to the?
I know it was at least 2 days for the it might have been 3 days, but he shows up there on July 22nd. That's when he shows up there. And
I think the festival is July 25th.
okay. Then he's got a few days to
Okay,
do
yeah.
things. We probably just time skip through a couple of things.
You can
He's got
drag that
some
out
time
for
to cook.
13 volumes if you need
Yeah.
to.
Right.
Especially since he's only really moving up in like it seems like increments of maybe 5 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, look at the show 24.
Yeah, that's
we
true.
got 72 on this one.
That's true. I do
That's
like
3 seasons.
the ending volume stuff, like the 20.5 or whatever, like the extra memo stuff. I like that the author is adding all this extra lore stuff for you to read. It's kind of annoying how wordy some of it is.
That's
but
why I didn't read it.
I didn't read
Yeah.
it yet because I didn't know it
Yeah, I
existed.
don't care. I would do
Yeah,
that too.
a lot of it's just kind of like bonus information about the characters. But some of it, a couple of it is like Shinpei's notebook where he writes down, each loop and what has happened on each loop, which is very thorough. Which again, I look at that and I'm like, God damn, Shinpei is like the smartest
he
protagonist I've
knows.
ever seen in
Smart.
ages. It's like refreshing, and then like I worried
You know
for a
what
second, like, oh, him being this smart means that like there's
He's
not
gonna
going
be
to be that much
dumb
to.
at some point. He's gonna
there's-
make a dumb mistake.
Well, no,
So
I was
bet
worried
you-
it was going to be too easy for him to solve, but then the bad guy is literally him too. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
a clone version of him. So I'm like, okay,
Wait,
that
wait,
adds
wait.
elements to it.
I just had a thought. What if, right? So this is a meta thing, but what
Yeah.
if
Oh, go ahead.
Shinpei is the author in self-insert and his journal is the author's notes to
I'm
write
gonna
the story?
shut the hell up.
What if no, seriously, what if Shinpei's notes that are super smart that has like the bird's eye view of the whole story is because it's the author's
I
notes?
cannot
author's
take that
notes.
level of mindfuck.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's in the story that it goes that deep. I'm just saying I bet you that's how the author wrote it.
You tell us the author is living this in real life, and he's stuck in a loop and wants us to save him.
No,
He's like
no, I'm
publishing
just
this
saying-
manga, being like, guys, please, I need advice. I don't know what to do.
I'm just saying that the author wrote this in like a journal, like POV style, and is not made it into a manga.
I mean, that might have been more so like what he was doing to plan out the story. I think, like
Yeah,
he's
that's what I
planning.
mean.
out-
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I thought you were
Okay.
just like.
I
I
don't
thought you were
mean
just like he was
it's a
LARP.
real conspiracy.
No, well, I
Oh,
thought
I
you were
thought-
saying either that or he was LARPing as his own character
No,
or
no,
some
no,
shit.
no. I mean, no. When I say POV, I mean like
Like planning it out, really.
Yeah.
Like outlining the
Yeah.
story.
yeah,
no,
like
so
outline.
you said author, and I assume that you meant the author that's in the story, and like
Oh.
Shinpei was her second self-insert, like her gender-bent self-insert in the story that she's already a
Base.
part of. And I was
Base.
like, I can't like stop. I can't do that. But okay, I see what you're talking
That's
about.
too
Yeah.
good. That'd be too funny.
No, yeah, I was just thinking it was the author's notes with Shinpei's notes is where I got all of that from. Like,
But
not like it was a
that's-
deeper point.
No, that's a cool way to do that. I've
Yeah.
done that sometimes with my characters, is like writing a diary from the character's perspective, as a way to get like little bit like details in this broader world. That I'm
Yeah,
working on.
it's just that with the combined with the bird's eye view makes me think that it's like that's how the author did it or came up with it. Not necessarily
fair.
it's a conspiracy or ties into the story, but
Yeah,
that's just my
maybe.
impression.
I know if I'm writing the story, I'm not writing all that shit out afterwards.
It'd be a good
unless
way
I
to
already
track
have
it.
written. I'm not-
Yeah,
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
Yeah, you probably would.
There was parts of it where like he like crosses off what he was writing at first too. That was what makes me sort of think you're right, because like you might add that kind of little detail to make it feel real, or you might just actually do it because you're
Mhm.
trying to write it and you fucked up one part of it, so you just scribble it
Yeah,
out.
because you're
and write
writing a
next to it.
fucking time loop. You're gonna
Yeah.
be scribbling out a lot of things, probably.
Right.
You know, I think about it with the journal thing. Like, kind of reminds me of like That's the Guy Infinite, which is also another time loop, which is a time loop game.
Oh, okay.
Where you're like a penguin.
A penguin.
You try and
time
stop your
loop?
boss from lowering your wage.
Hell yeah, my favorite time loop.
Wait,
that of
what?
penguin.
Let's go. Okay, but is there murder? Does the penguin have to stop? Does the penguin murder?
No. So the
No,
boss
no.
thinks he gets assassinated. So
Oh.
you gotta stop this. You'll get a negative wage.
If you want
Oh.
to do the turtles meme and take this deeper, is every time you respawn in Call of Duty a time loop?
True.
Or is every new
True.
matchup time loop? Or is every new respawn a time loop inside of the
No, it's
greater
a parallel
matchup
universe.
time loop, which
Listen.
is inside of
Jesus
every release, which is
Hey,
every
listen,
release every year, which is a
listen.
bigger time loop.
Anonymous code is coming out like next week, and that's basically adding on to Steins Gate lore, where it says like actually that
Oh,
universe
Lord.
might actually be like a simulation, and then there's actually simulations that are built within simulations, and it's actually all just simulations, all the way
And much
down.
like onions, it
So-
has layers.
So
True.
I tried to get my girlfriend into Steins Gate,
Yeah.
and I could just see as she was watching the beginning, her slowly get more bored and more
Yeah.
bored with the show. I was
That's
like, God
funny.
damn it.
It's especially towards the beginning. Maybe it's a little slow.
Yeah,
for
the
people to get
beginning
into.
is a lot slower than I remember it being, to be honest, because it
Right.
picks up so fast all of a sudden, and then you're just on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
You're
like,
like,
how many
"This
times can you
is
say to
happening,
somebody, get through this first arc? Because that's what everybody tells me when I'm watching One Piece. They're like, just get through this arc. Like, how many times are you going to tell me that?
Well, like it's
Yeah.
hard
How
to
long
it's
is
hard
One
to
Piece
be
arc?
like,
That's the question.
well, like Steins Gate is the first arc is so fucking slow because they have to do so much character building for you to appreciate the rest of the story.
And I can explain to you why
It's
it's,
so
like
necessary.
that. It's because it's based on the visual novel, and in all those initial scenes, you're one, like you said, trying to get to know the real characters, and two, in the visual novel,
You can just pick up whenever.
well, no, not that. It's that the gimmick in Steins Gate, the visual novel, is you have the actual cell phone that you can interact with. People text you, and if you respond to certain texts, different events will happen to grow to know characters and stuff like that. So like you have branching paths that sort of kind of get set up early. A lot of it is set up to like explain a lot of the concepts that happen, so that later on when the big events happen to shift things and you end up having to go through constant loops afterwards to fix things that you've set up earlier, now a lot of those are choices that you make with the D-mail. So in the anime of Steins Gate, they show the very like linear version of the story, whereas actually most of those like decisions where he decides to undo some D-mail there's a route in the visual novels where you don't do that, and you see an ending that happens if you don't do that, and each of them is usually corresponding to each character and stuff like that. But like all the beginning stuff, it has to take that long to set up, to prepare before those kind of things happen. So that they can, one, explain a lot of the details of how this stuff works, and two, build up all the characters, like you said, but then also letting you like have all these choices with like the D-mail stuff. But a lot of that obviously doesn't translate when it comes to the anime, because it is not interactive media at that point anymore. You're
Yeah.
watching it, so you don't have like a cell phone to make a choice with to see what happens if you do this or whatever.
That's an awesome explanation. You should put that on the YouTube video so it can just show.
Yeah, where's the
her
anime science
later
video?
verbatim.
Anime
Or
science.
game design.
Just put that on the YouTube video so I can show her later.
I have
I
4
have a thing.
Steins Gate videos you can check out now.
Oh Lord, I have a thing. I'm
Yes.
looking. I'm looking at the picture
Yeah.
that you have on
Yes. Yeah, you
the
see it.
Twitch stream. Yeah, I see it. I'm staring at it. Which is the eye that he got replaced? Is it the same
The-
color as Ushio's?
So that I think from what I remember, the one that looks
Yeah,
really
'cause it's-
blue is supposed to be the eye that got replaced.
Yeah, it is because he in the manga they said mother lost her right eye, so that's
Oh, yeah,
Right,
that
his
was
right eye is yeah.
Yeah.
See, this just contributes to what I was saying about the fact that Ushio is more than a foreigner, and that's why that she.
damn.
Oh no, I think you're
runs
right. Yeah,
into the
Yeah, you're
timeline.
definitely right.
I think you're 100% right. I don't think she's a foreigner. I think she's like another. She's connected to the shadows, like another
Yeah.
species or some like alien. Like I'm starting to think. I think you're right. Not alien, but I think like how Derek said that the author tried this before with aliens, right?
Shamazvu, yeah.
I think the author went with like this is an ancient race or an ancient species or like
Mm.
eldritch kind of shit,
Okay.
something ancient, and I'm guessing Ushio is like some sort of hybrid or connection to that, or like small
Something like
percentage
that.
dragonkin type shit, you know?
See, my
Actually-
great ancestor was also a shadow. As it turns out.
Oh damn! I believe it.
Not me. I'm talking about Ushio.
That might be why, like, if we were to go with the theory that the Ushio that was killed was her shadow, which I obviously this is all just purely theoretical. If she was technically part of like the shadow group, that she could still be considered a defector by the other shadows, even though it's like actually Ushio.
Yeah, maybe.
Does that make
Anything
sense?
could be possible, maybe. But what we do know, something weird's going on with Ushio. Ushio's doing some shit.
Ushio's
Something
doing
spiritual.
sus.
Something spiritually. I don't fucking know. But Ushio's doing something. For some reason, she's doing it in a swimsuit the whole time. Don't know why.
That's
but it's
that's the tagline of the entire manga. Ushio's doing something.
something in a swimsuit.
Well, it's
The swimsuit's
I'm
because she
guessing-
was supposed to have died in the swimsuit, or like she was copied
Yeah.
while
Yeah,
she was in the swimsuit.
yeah.
I'm guessing
Sounds
the
like hope to
whole
me.
the whole memory thing is gonna linchpin around the moment she died in the powers. Like,
So, Chap, I am about to crush your
Hi.
whole dreams
Oh,
about
no.
the swimsuit thing.
Oh, no.
Because the first shadow that we see of her, she is not in the swimsuit.
Oh, she's not in the swimsuit. Wait, but then
She's
well,
just choosing to be in a
that,
swimsuit.
so when I first got into this series, when the anime was first airing, my immediate thought, especially when you had the dude in the restaurant that said, "Hey, you were asking about this earlier," and then them like Ushio seeing a shadow version of herself in a different outfit, I immediately thought, okay, somehow Ushio and or Shinpei are like physically traveling backwards in time somehow later and trying to affect things, and we just don't know about it yet. Because I get that kind of vibe. I got that kind of vibe similar with the beginning of Steins Gate, and you pretty much get this kind of vibe with any kind of time travel thing. Like, once you see a couple time travel stories, you start realizing, hey, these like weird little incidents that happen in the beginning, it's probably something connected to later, and it's probably somebody coming back and doing something, and you don't realize it yet.
That's fair.
So I feel like it might be something related to later. Somehow they physically travel backwards and try to affect things, as opposed to like just going back through memories somehow. But anything could happen. We don't know. So
We don't know.
the one thing I did want to bring up, that James Vu, that other series that they wrote. So, and that's a concept that they might bring it up as like something that they talk about later in the manga, but I know for a fact they labeled like episode 4 of the anime that, and it's supposed to be like the reverse concept of deja vu. So instead, it's like a concept that you're unfamiliar with that you're supposed to be familiar with.
oh yeah, I've heard of this before.
Right, because like all these shadow people, they're like, you know, they're people that you feel like you should know, but like for some reason you have a weird feeling that you don't know them. That's why I think Mio at some point had mentioned like I don't like recognize some of the people on the island anymore or something like that. Somebody at some point had said some line that something along the lines of like people on the island feel a little different lately, and I don't know why or something like that. And you know, that kind of concept is kind of being brought in. So that little test run series might be interesting to check out, I guess. But I also feel like that's the kind of series that nobody on Earth will have translated. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, you can translate it first, Wolfborg.
True. I'll get right
It's
on it.
also
I'm
one of
going to
those
give it
things
Kansai
that-
accents and everything.
Did
God damn it.
the summertime rendering anime blow up? Because it's one of those things where if it did, then their other
When it
series
was
might have
airing,
translated.
people were talking about it. The problem was the Disney Plus deal. So the Disney Plus deal meant, you know, it wasn't actually physically releasing at the time on the streaming platform. It didn't come out into Hulu until like 6 months after it finished airing or something like that.
Yeah, that's
so,
stupid.
you know, anime YouTubers and like my Jotaku stuff was talking about it, but a lot of people weren't talking about it outside of that. So like it blew up within like the parts of the anime community for enjoying it, at least at the beginning. But then because of Disney just not releasing it weekly on their platform, it just kind of deflated it later on. So it wasn't really like as solidified as like a great anime at the time for people to reference for like awards and shit like that. So it was disappointing, but now it seems like we're supposedly doing a lot better with that. We had Heavenly Delusion, which was also supposed to be a Disney Plus thing, airing weekly on Hulu, which was very great, and that was a very well-received anime up until some weird choices towards the end, which was really the fault of the manga. But that's a whole thing that we'll get into if we ever
Eventually.
decide to talk about Heavenly Delusion. But this is summertime rendering, so I'm trying to think... yeah, the summertime rendering anime would have blown up. It probably would have been like one of the like big animes of that year if it wasn't like locked in Disney jail for that month while they were still trialing anime shit. So, but now they got stuff like I think Bleach. They got Bleach, right? Or is Bleach on Crunchyroll now? So I mean, they have that blown up, so people are actually checking out that stuff, and then you had Heavenly Delusion stuff like that. So.
Can I, speaking of platforms, can I step on a soapbox really quick, just in case this video ever blows up and someone can hear my pain?
Yes, what's your pain?
Listen.
Speak your truth.
Alright. So Funimation owns, or Crunchyroll and Funimation are the same company right now, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I own a LG OLED TV, okay?
Okay.
And it has WebOS. Lots of good panel TVs use WebOS. WebOS is a very common smart TV platform in the market, okay?
Okay.
Funimation had a great functioning WebOS app. Crunchyroll doesn't, okay? And because they merged,
really?
because they merged, they took down the Funimation app, but they didn't add a Crunchyroll one. And this is fucking bullshit, okay? The Funimation one was superior in every way and actually existed on more platforms. Why are we? I know Crunchyroll has more name recognition. Just put Crunchyroll on the fucking Funimation one and give me the Funimation one.
It's so funny you say that. Every experience I've ever had between trying to use Crunchyroll or Funimation like apps outside of like the websites, Funimation has always been worse. Crunchyroll has always been like better.
Both
at
of them
that.
have always been terrible for me. Funimation has just been better for me. Out of the two of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Funimation has been less terrible.
Yes, and actually accessible on more devices than
Right.
Crunchyroll.
Well, now you have to figure it out. Either you think it's convenient because it's on Crunchyroll. Well, now they could be on Hulu. They could be on Amazon Prime. They could be on what's that other one? High Dive. Could be on High Dive. Could be on Netflix. Could be Record of Ragnarok doing weird things with its animation.
They had an app for WebOS. Why didn't they just use it?
Nope,
Why?
can't do it.
Why do they have to cut off my access?
Just get a
No
fucking
reason.
Because I hate you.
just get a Chromecast. Make your life
I
easy.
don't wanna.
Chromecast has been like the best purchase of an electronic I've ever made. It's amazing.
I know. I'm gonna end up just buying a fucking Chromecast.
It just makes
don't wanna
life
give it
so
in.
much easier.
May I ask what a Chromecast is?
A Chromecast is you plug this device into the TV, and then from your phone, you can like there's a button on most phones that says cast this to a device, and it just will put whatever media you're looking at on the device. So like if you're watching on like Crunchyroll, you can Chromecast what you're watching onto the TV just directly from there. So you don't have to download some like third-party app on your website or your TV or whatever.
My family got really deep into the fucking Roku rabbit hole like a while back, so we've always had Rokus, and those things are fucking garbage, and I want to switch to Google. Because my family just constantly, my Roku's not working, my Roku's not working. Like, we'll blame them for making a fucking single-band Wi-Fi adapter in fucking 2022. That's not my fault.
True. Speak your truth.
I have Wi-Fi adapters from, like, fucking Windows XP that are dual-band. It's not my fault. My brand new fancy router, that's way better than the one we had previously. It doesn't interact with the Roku well. Because they spent fucking 0.1 cents instead of 0.2 cents on the fucking Wi-Fi chip.
Brutal. Holy shit.
Damn.
It's a single band Wi-Fi product that's supposed to be streaming full HD. That they've had single band up until like 21 or something. It's stupid.
Wow.
You can
So
only
anyway,
do
summertime
2.4
rendering.
meters.
Sorry, I have to feed my Snorlax on Pokemon Sleep.
You have to what?
I have to feed my Snorlax on Pokemon Sleep.
What the these words are not in the Bible. What are you?
The Pokemon Bible, maybe.
What the fuck?
There is no Pokemon Bible.
This is
okay, there's only Arceus.
these words are not in summertime
need.
rendering. Okay, all right. Y'all feeding the Snorlax? What the fuck?
Yeah, I have Pokemon Sleep, and feeding the Snorlax increases your Snorlax's power. So you get more Pokemon.
Other thing I almost forgot. That fucking seashell thing. Do you think that seashell thing that was apparently from Ushio or whatever is going to be somehow related to whatever time travel power thing is happening? Because at some point I thought
but
that.
in some stupid way.
That's
they
what. Yeah,
have-
I'm a little worried about that. I feel like
It
it's
has
gonna
to
be
be a
very
Chekhov's
cheesy.
gun thing, right?
It's gonna be a fucking MacGuffin.
It's gonna be a very cheesy.
Oh, it's a
fucking cheesy
shell.
thing. Yeah.
This is because it's an island. This is never mind. The fucking shadows are gonna be like some ancient land evil, and like Ushio is gonna be like the fucking good ocean counterpart.
because she
Yeah,
drifted
she's
in
a
from
shell
from the
necklace.
shore or something like that.
It's gonna be like a mer people bullshit thing.
God damn it.
It might be.
mer people
Well,
wearing
that's what's
swimsuits.
interesting is they
No.
now have two because Ushio's
Yeah.
shadow or whether or not like also has one. So now
Right.
Shinpei has one and Ushio's shadow also has one.
This is
They
wait, hold up.
duplicated it.
This is a total like
Yeah, what's up?
like foul ball. Okay, I'm just throwing this in the air in case I'm
All right.
right, because it'd be hilarious if I'm right. What if the shadow was killed instead of Ushio, like I think
That's
Ann
what I
said?
was saying.
Yeah, like you said, right? But you know how it's strangling? What if the mer people knew the difference and strangled her because they knew it was
Oh,
the
no.
wrong Ushio? It really is mer people. It's just
How the hell?
very unlikely, but in case it's somehow
I'm just
this,
I'm just
saying
hearing you
no.
shout, listen, mer people. What if the mer people? And I'm just thinking like you're the crazy old man now
No.
on the island. Listen, son,
Derek,
the shadows are
Derek,
fighting the
shut
mer
up.
people.
Is it more crazy than the lolly is like actually a god who can control space and time and is trying to protect the
I've seen things.
village from alien parasites because the government is going to gas the whole village? Is it? This is it's
Well, this is
Higurashi. It's
Higurashi memes.
stupid. It's awful.
Okay. Sorry,
Higurashi.
Higurashi.
Higurashi's awful.
Which I know I
Justin,
should.
Justin
I'm-
has thoughts about Higurashi. Okay,
I'm
that's
spoiling
that's where we're
at.
Higurashi
at.
because Higurashi spoiled itself. Okay.
God damn.
Okay.
Anyways, murder. Time loop murder.
Murder. Time loop murder.
Funk yeah, murder.
Mer people killing shadows. And listen, I'm not buying into the mer people theory just yet. Okay, it's gonna be.
I'm not either. I'm just saying, in case it's right, it'll be hilarious to call back on this and act like I'm Nostradamus.
You want to
Just
put
like
money on it?
Nostradamus.
You want to put
I'm
money on
writing a
it?
bunch of shit in a book, and if one of
You
them's
wanna
right,
put
I'm
money
gonna
on-
take
You want to
credit
put money
for
on
it.
mer people showing up?
No, I don't want to put money on it.
Coward.
Stupid.
Coward.
Who the fuck would write about mer
Coward.
people? That's
It's
idiotic.
true. So what you're saying is, if mer people are revealed, this will be the worst manga ever. Is that what you're saying?
Probably.
Okay. What if
It's on
Tagata
Christmas.
shows up as a mer person?
Oh Lord.
As long as Tagata gets to live in whatever gender they want to choose. then
True. True.
I'm happy for Tagata.
Good ending. Good ending.
And
Oh
doesn't
my gosh, my friend's
light
podcast.
themselves on fire.
Okay, so that's Summertime Rendering Volumes 1 and 2. General thoughts in general, I really enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend it. I'd be cautious about like those first initial fan service scenes in the first chapter. Look
Yeah.
past those because it like never happens again.
Yeah, I was thankful for that because I was like, here we fucking
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, it was a good night on the sus meter, to put it lightly.
I mean, there is like 11 other chapters where it could happen for all we know. But as far as we
Yeah.
know, at this point, it does not ever happen again. There is a couple shower scenes. Udon Entertainment has thankfully censored them because we do not need to see shit there. I don't know why people were angry about that, but that's whatever.
It was just what the artist intended. Yeah, well, the artist intended to be a fucking pedophile. Doesn't mean we have to post it online. Thank you very
Wait,
much.
Yeah.
did they consult the artists and stuff with involving that, by the way?
Yeah,
I don't
they did.
fucking
They mentioned
care.
that too. The publishers mentioned because they did like some Reddit response to people or whatever, and they said this was only like 3 panels, and we consulted the artist about it to make sure it was okay to do it, and so like it was all cleared. So I mean, I
I
don't
don't
know.
give a fuck if you call it art or not. You don't need nipples of 16-year-old girls in manga.
Yeah,
It like
real.
it's
For
it has
real.
nothing to do with whatever you need for the plot. It was already kind of weird that we had the like panty shot in the
It's
first
integral of
episode.
plot, we'll figure out what you're talking
It was
about.
it was already weird the panty shot, but then it was funny that we used it to reestablish. Oh, this is a time
Yeah.
loop. Like I
It's
thought
like-
that was
it's-
funny, but
That's the only
This is
thing it does.
exactly what. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know, fire.
I was gonna say this is exactly what happened to Ruka-chan. I don't know if I said that right, but there was this, like,
Rika-chan and Higurashi.
no. I'm talking about the show Ruka-chan, and
Oh.
it's like the one with the ghosts, the girl who sees the ghosts. Anyway, it's a show about a girl who sees ghosts, and like she's in danger because if she has to pretend she can't see ghosts because if
Oh,
she
I
know if
wanted
they
to
know.
watch that. The
I
horror
remember.
comedy one.
So the first couple episodes, it's softcore porn.
Yes, it is.
And it's trash.
Yeah.
And then they never do it again, and it's a good show. It's
That's
stupid.
kind of funny.
Yeah, I read the first volume of that manga. I was really interested later on, but yeah, it does have a lot of like, because like the gimmick is like, okay, she can see all these ghosts. She's trying to ignore these ghosts. Her
really
friend who has
interesting
like big
concept.
tits, that like fucking ghosts are trying to like fondle her, and she wants to tell her something to warn her to get them not to fondle her, but she doesn't want to acknowledge the ghost. Like there's scenes with that shit happening, and it's like, why is
Damn.
this happening? This is fucking weird.
There's like 6 panty shots every other scene, and it's like
God,
the show
Jesus.
genuinely is good and has an interesting concept, and I want to see more of it. But the first 2 episodes, that shit happens, and then it never happens again. There's no more fan service.
Yeah, pretty much. There's like a lot of like you know, sad, depressing scenes afterwards. Like fucking, you find
All
out
of
one
them.
character has just not actually been there, and that makes it like really fucking sad. Like there's a whole
The
there's
pregnancy
a guy,
one was real sad.
there's a guy who looks like a fucking evil Yakuza dude. And he's got a cat, or no, there was a nice looking dude who wanted this cat, and she could see a shit ton of ghosts around this evil dude. And then like, she's like, oh, all these ghosts are surrounding this dude. I think this dude's fucked up. I don't want to give this cat to him. And then this dude who looks like a Yakuza dude shows up, and he's got like nice looking cat ghosts or whatever around him. So he's like, oh, this must be a nice person to take care of cats. The other person
Oh,
must
dear.
be a fucking
Oh, no.
psychopath that murders cats or whatever. So like, you know, we got like themes with like those kind of things where it's like we're playing around with the ghost stuff. I just
Yeah.
really like it more when we're not playing with
They really
what
did
ghosts can
dive into,
sexually
like-
do to you. I don't.
Yeah, they
I don't
really
understand
dive
what that
deep into
was.
like life after death and
Yeah.
like when life begins with pregnancy. Like there's interesting concepts in that show, and the first 2 episodes probably turned a lot of people off, so we'll never get a second season.
Well, there's
I mean,
there's
it happens.
there is a lot of the
Well,
manga though, so if you are interested, there's
Well-
plenty of that.
I gotta
It
get
would
around
turn
to
a
it.
lot of people on too.
That's
so.
true. That's
And,
true. That's true.
yes.
Say what you will.
Listen, there's definitely an audience for people who are into ghosts fucking
Yeah, but it just stops all
fondling
that
women or whatever.
completely.
Yeah. So it's like,
yeah,
you know,
so there's
doing
probably
weird like
people
half
complaining
things.
and leaving 1-star reviews.
Yeah.
There.
But maybe it comes back later in the manga or something. I only read the first volume of the manga, so I don't know if it comes back later on. So
Well, it didn't come back in the show for.
yeah, I don't remember it ever coming back in the show really.
I actually like the
it's,
show.
It's always really just with like her big tit friend that she has. It's always just her pretty much.
It doesn't have a
gets that
name.
shit.
That's just
And then they
I don't
explain
remember
it
what her
why
name
ghosts
is.
are attracted to it. They explain it.
There was an explanation? That's
Yes.
weird.
Yes.
Well,
There's-
so they stopped over sexualizing her. I mean, she's still got like jiggly boobs and shit like that, but they stopped doing like full on panty shots and like
Yeah.
doing full on fan service scenes. And they have an explanation for why ghosts are attracted to this one specific person.
Yeah.
Mm.
What's the reason?
It
I
was,
mean, it's a spoiler, but
yeah, it's spoilers, okay? Anyways, that's Miyaruka-chan, okay? You check that out if you're interested in that stuff, all right? Summertime rendering, something I would highly
that?
recommend. Never heard of it before. Never heard of it.
I thought this was just a general manga talk stream.
Yeah, true. We don't actually read anything here. We just ramble about found film and lolly villains in anime. Yeah, obviously. This is all we do. This is all we do.
And like a little bit of Mega Man because somehow the keys getting brought up.
Nah, fuck Mega Man.
You say we, but it's pretty much you. But it's fine. It's fine.
I'm sorry. Who's the one who brought it up? In comparison with Samus Aran?
Mega Man
Oh,
only
you're
exists
very hurt by
because-
that. I see. I feel it.
Mega Man only exists because they needed young cis boys to have someone to look up to.
I
Samus.
You know he's originally called Rainbow Man. You know it's a thing, right?
I have no fucking idea, dude. I'm just coming up with this off the top of my head.
You're like
I'm just
what was
saying.
Aztec the other night when we were playing League with Aztec like weeks ago or
Oh,
something
yeah.
like that, and he's just like he said something about some game that isn't out yet, and you're just like, isn't it not out yet? He's like, I don't know, I'm just saying shit. He's just like, yeah, I heard it was terrible. He's like, you're just like, isn't it not out yet? He's like, yeah, no, I'm just saying shit. I don't know. I don't know. Shit. Anyways,
I forgot what game it was though.
so summertime rendering is, I think it's great so far. Look past the fan servicey things. Try to look past the fucking accent that they're trying to do in the manga translation. You can find it.
I'll stop
It's
you there
real rough.
quite easily.
So I would recommend it. The first 2 volumes I think are great so far. What do you guys think? Who would you recommend it to?
I wouldn't straight up. I think it's way too early to full on recommend it because it's 13 volumes. And we've only read 2.
Well,
But
at
I'm
this
definitely
point,
intrigued and going to continue reading.
at this point, if you did have to recommend it to somebody, who would you recommend it to?
I recommend it to my girlfriend because she's into twisted, weird shit, and it seems like it's going that direction.
Based. All right. Anybody else?
I don't know who I'd recommend it to.
So really quickly, while Anne thinks about who to recommend it to, sorry. For the record, I'm not being mean about my girlfriend. The first
How dare
movie
you.
we went to the movies together to watch was fucking Barbarian, and she picked it, and I had no idea what it was. So
I
there you
saw
go.
that movie. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I probably have a couple coworkers that would be interested in reading it, assuming that they know how to read.
Wait, hold on.
They have to know how to read and know how to read Kansai accents that are translated in like 3 different ways.
It might make it
That'll be
easier
tough.
to read. It might make it easier to read if you don't know how to read.
Just
Wait,
just
that's
look
like-
at it.
that's
Just
an
look at
oxymoron.
just look at the pretty cover arts. Okay, they're very nice.
Like I can pin down, because my coworkers, we talk about a lot of fandom stuff. Like they do like the Tuesday night classics at like theaters, and a lot of them are into Star Wars and stuff. I can't think of a whole lot of them that are super into like the time loop and murder mystery stuff. That really is very much my thing.
Oh, if
So,
you're into, have you seen Tenet then?
no.
I still have to check that
Oh,
out. I
Tenet's
heard
so
I heard
good. If
mixed
you're into
things about it,
time
but I want to
stuff-
check it out at some point.
Imagine
Tenet's really good.
consuming media. That's so cringe. Couldn't be
Fucking
me.
cringe.
Boom.
Can you imagine committing to a book club where you have to read 2 volumes of it every week? Oh my god.
Look. I do that while
couldn't be
exercising.
me.
Because I get too bored of exercising.
Based. There you go.
I literally have it written down in like this cute little agenda that I bought with like where all of my homework readings are. I have it
time
all
loop diagram?
planned out too. I have it marked down. So by next Thursday, I have to read chapters 21 through 40, and then 41 through 60, and then 61 through 80. I have it all planned out for September and October.
You have like
I
down to
already
the
have it
hour.
written
It's gonna be like a
down.
Discount Infinite chart. I swear to God.
I don't.
No,
recom-
I don't have it that far. I do have my work and school schedule down to like the quarter hour, I think. But my like written agenda is just for like shit, like assignments and stuff that I have to get done.
All right.
What do I have to do for tomorrow? I have to finish this drawing that I'm working on in 4 hours.
Oh damn, you gotta get to work. Right on
Yeah.
time.
I
you
gotta
work
get
on
to
that.
work.
So with that being said, does anybody
Yeah,
have
who
any?
I recommend it to. Come on.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I was gonna try to push us along to wrap this up. Okay, so does anybody else have anybody else they want to recommend it to? Shadow.
I'd probably recommend it to the same friend who recommended Chainsaw Man. It keeps coming full circle. It's Fujimoto again.
True, it's Fujimoto. It's always Fujimoto. And
Wait,
Turin,
so
do you have any?
Fujimoto-
He knew.
Turin, do you have any final thoughts that you want to say, or people you would recommend it to? Trend up.
Not particularly. Probably Shubham, if he's listening, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, newer reader, so. it'd be interesting.
Reviewers.
True.
It could be
True. So, all right. So, yes, summertime rendering I think is great so far. I think we're going to be in for interesting stuff. I just hope it doesn't drop the ball with where it's going to go. I normally get really nervous about mysteries, especially time loop mysteries, when they get closer to revealing things and how they work. I get nervous about them. But we have so many volumes left that I feel like we're not even close to the end, even though it feels like it. Towards
Yeah, they're
where
in the
things are
air.
gonna go.
They can either dunk or fumble at this point, and we'll see where it goes.
We'll see where it goes in the next loop, which the next volume starts with the next loop. And we'll see how that goes. Oh my god. So we're going to be reading, for next Thursday, we're going to be reading the next 2 volumes, so volumes 3 and 4, which I believe should end at chapter 40 if it's been going along the same numbering scheme. So we'll see how that goes. If it turns out it doesn't end at 40, it's like some weird thing, I'll let you guys know. But in general, just read volumes 3 and 4, and you'll be all set. So once you see the cover for volume 5, then you should stop. So, alrighty. So, any final thoughts, concerns, anything that anybody wants to bring up before we wrap up the summertime rendering talk?
Mer people.
Mer people. Instead of aliens, it's just mer people. Okay. It's already crazy enough. We're talking about shadows. Now he's bringing up mer people.
Eldritch horror mer people.
Are mer people, but water aliens?
Cthulhu.
Cthulhu. Listen, there was already a Cthulhu anime. It aired a couple seasons ago. It was dog shit. It was an Adult Swim fucking anime, and it was terrible.
Gross.
It was fucking awful.
Have you played the Cthulhu dating sim?
No.
I want to play
It actually looks pretty hilarious. I watched you play
about
it.
it.
It actually looks pretty hilarious.
that. Next anime night stream.
Yeah, definitely. I'll get right on that. Don't worry. Which, by the way, if you guys haven't been, if you're listening to this and you haven't noticed yet, I have been doing the anime streams again. I've mostly just been doing it on Twitch. So every Sunday night, what we'll do, what I've been trying to do is, I'm trying to go through recent anime, usually about like 8 or 9-ish. I'll try to figure out a consistent time for me to make sure I get set up and started with things. But in general, what I'm trying to do is, one, I'm still going to be doing the whole looking through anime game listed on Steam that's tagged anime. So we go through all those. There is a fuck ton of hentai puzzle games these days, because of AI shit making it even worse. We had like 4 from the same company that happened last week. In 1 week, there was 4 fucking games. But it's okay. Steam says they're gonna get rid of AI art games. Don't worry, guys. They're
Apparently they've been banning a shitload of them.
Good. Maybe I should start.
Just what's making it through.
Listen, maybe I should start reporting them on stream. Maybe that's what I should do.
Do it. Dude, no, seriously, do.
So anyways, that segment's there, and I've also been trying to do a segment where I go over anime news that happened within that week before that, and maybe I'll add some other segments in between, but it's going to be a whole anime night, so show up for that, and you can bring your anime list, and I will judge you live on stream. I will shit-talk all of your tastes, because mine are all superior than yours, okay? I have the based anime takes, and nobody can deny that. Yeah, just bring your list for Anime Night Sunday, and I will be sure to roast you.
I hadn't watched something in so long that I forgot my AnyList password and I had to reset it.
Oh no!
I've done that.
Well, it's there. You update your lists and everything.
Do you go through like phases where you watch a ton of anime or you watch nothing at all?
Yeah, and I'm stuck in a nothing at all phase because I'm in my senior year of college.
Yeah.
So I'm doing like capstone and thesis crunch and still like taking 15 credit hours on top of all of that. So I just don't have time.
I haven't been watching as many as I usually do just because I've been so focused on like the manga translation stuff I'm trying to help out with for the Idle Story manga from the New Game author. So it takes me a while because I was not a manga translator prior to this, and I'm fans translating it because nobody else is doing it. So it takes me a long time to get through it, but we're making progress. I'm actually ahead with the translation by like 2 chapters already. It's just the typesetter still has to find some time to be able to do that on his end. But my work is already done for at least the 2 chapters. I'm just trying to make sure I get the other chapters done. We're like 10 chapters behind where it currently is, though, which is a little concerning. But they release like every 2 weeks, so it's not going to be that hard.
You've got time.
I'm working through it. I'm doing my best.
And I haven't because it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5.
Oh damn.
Guess what? I can't get into my Annie list.
Wow. So, what are you gonna do? Gonna have to click forgot password.
Reset my password.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, so bring your Annie list Sunday if you're interested. I will roast you.
Tell me you guys have your like 20-letter passwords memorized.
Listen, I have a password manager.
Multiple symbols?
I got Bitwarden or whatever.
I have like
I used to have LastPass.
few-
LastPass turned to shit, so I have Bitwarden. What were you saying? Anybody?
I have all of mine written down on a piece of paper that goes inside the toilet tank.
What?
It's inside a Ziploc bag, so it
What?
doesn't get wet.
What the fuck is this Mission Impossible bullshit? What the fuck?
It's inside a bag, inside of a box with a lock that has a key that I've surgically inserted into my cat. So I have to
What is
surgically
Jigsaw?
remove the key. wasting time. I want to get to the box to access
All
the
of this
bag
to protect
and
your
my password
AO3? God damn.
But then it's written in code and backwards like Leonardo da Vinci. So
That's impressive. That's impressive. Nobody's ever gonna figure out your South Park fan fiction now. They'll never find it.
You know, I kind of want to also do that one day. Just make like.
Well, I'm glad the bit was funny. I need food and to work on homework.
Yes. We are going to be wrapping up the Anime Night stream here, but thank you all for coming. Thank you all for having the chat. If you are going to be here for next week, make sure you read the next 2 volumes. If you haven't been here, if you're listening to this like now or in the future or whatever, and you want to get involved with this, you still can. You can come into the voice chat next week if you read up to the volumes that we are, or you could just be in the chat. And just message in the chat and we will read them. I don't think we had any chatters this week, but that's fine. That's because all of us were here. Usually it's like Anne in the chat talking to us, but now Anne is here. So, you know.
Here.
So keep that in mind and make sure to subscribe and all that and check out everybody else's stuff. And
I'm streaming right after this, so you know.
Yeah, there you go. Shadow's going to be streaming right after this. I don't know if we're going to be streaming or whatever, other stuff. Justin, are you around to play games?
Fortnite?
Yeah, we could do Fortnite. Anne's gonna be busy, but we could do Fortnite.
Yeah.
We can run ranked duos on stream, show how good we are now.
I don't know if I want to stream after this,
but
though. But I just wanted to check to make sure whether or not we're playing games, though. So
yeah,
we can
I'll
do
play.
games. All right.
I took a 6-hour nap earlier, so.
All right. Well, say goodbye to the stream. Oh, what was that? Was that what you have to say?
I was gonna say that I'm gonna send what I'm working on in the general chat.
Oh, you can do that. You can do that. Go for it.
Yeah.
If it's art, we also have an art chat in there too, but it might be better in general.
yeah.
You can do whatever. I don't really care because people barely use any of the chats anyways, except me. So I mean,
I'll toss it in general so you can see why I can't do Fortnite. I have to. I'm doing like a old like 80s pop comic style shading. So I have to like color all of this in black, and then I'm doing like the xenomorph coming out of the dark.
Oh, damn.
So this is due at midnight tonight, my time.
Okay.
So
here's what you do. This looks great. Throw that away and start a new one about summertime rendering. Get to work on that.
No. I'm actually really proud of how this is coming so far, but
it looks good. It looks good.
Thank you. Okay, goodbye stream.
Okay, goodbye stream. I'm gonna turn off the stream. Bye stream.
Bye.